What's up, guys? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm the Alchemist, and I have with me my friend GenieDot and Bam Heck, who is a special guest today. Bam Heck was available, so he decided to join the live today. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be discussing our out of body experiences and our insights gained from these experiences. And Jeannie is an experienced out of body traveler for sure. He actually helped me, and how I found him was when I first started leaving my body. I kept going to South America for some reason, and I'd never seen anybody talk about South America. I never seen Darius mention it too much or anything. So I was online searching for anybody to that's mentioning astral projecting or out of body to South America, and I stumbled across Genie on TikTok. And this guy's experience was out of control. So I've been following this guy for a while, and I'm happy to introduce you guys to him. So welcome, Genie.
Yo, I'm glad to be here. Glad that you're having me. If you don't know me, people call me GenieDot. I've been traveling since I was around 16 years old. I'm in my 20s now, so I have good experience with this. I've experienced the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. I've learned how to get more clarity inside the astral or just out of body in general on the other side because terminology gets really convoluted. So I'll use different terms for these experiences throughout the video. But yeah, we've been doing this, and I'm glad to have connected with people who do this as well in a very authentic way. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And that's what I love so much about you, man, because I feel like you got into this just on your own, right? Like you weren't taught this by anybody. You kind of just stumbled across this on by yourself. Is that right?
Yeah, literally. Like I guess life kind of just set things up for me because at different points in my life, I just got recommended different videos. I'm like, yo, I want to do that. So when I saw astral projection, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna do that. So I started doing it. And I actually was doing it as a kid without knowing it. Like as a kid, I always got sleep paralysis and I would sometimes pop out without knowing what was happening. And since I was a kid, I didn't know what was happening. It was always kind of like weird. Like one time I had my Game Boy Advance attacking me. It was real ridiculous. But long story short, yeah, I didn't really learn under a person. I just found different methods online and eventually built my own methods for myself. And then as I've done that, I've met just different people to help me out inside my journey. But it's really just been like me doing this for myself for the most part.
Yeah, man, that's great. That's great. And I seen your progression, man. And one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on is because we were going back and forth, and we're talking about our experiences and stuff, and then we got to talking about the halls of a mentee, and you put me on to the Omniversal map. And I was like, wow, that wasn't even my framework of imagination. I was thinking, I was trying to focus on this construct, like how to map this out. I didn't even know that there was a map for outside of this construct either.
Mm-hmm. And
That
it's
that
crazy
was
too
crazy.
because like the way that I helped you with the omniverse, you've been helping me with like just the basic construct of this physical plane, the different layers of it. Because I always got taught about like sub realms, like or sub planes with inside this one physical plane. Like every single plane has different sub planes, and then there's like certain pocket realms inside of every plane. So when you talk about the realms, it's what they were trying to teach me, but I didn't understand it because I never really cared about the subplanes and the different pocket routes and the different levels of every single plane. But when I saw you talking
Yeah,
about it, as well as Darius, I'm like, oh, this
yeah.
is what the different beings meant. Yeah, I gotta tap into this. So you helped me a lot, also, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, so I think the pocket realms, I think what you're talking about is like dimensional spaces within the realms, because there's some dimensional spaces, especially once you get out of here into the higher realms, there's these dimensional spaces that are like its own realm within a realm. It's insane. It's insane. And
Yeah,
you can have, yeah.
yeah, like because when I was first learning about it, for example, when you mentioned how the third realm is like the Egyptian world, I'm like, yo, that makes a lot of sense because whenever I would so when it comes to planes of existence, they call like what they call the astral plane. That's like the third plane of existence. But within inside of the physical plane, you could say that that third Egyptian realm is tied to the astral, in the sense that when the Egyptians were alive on the earth, they dang near lived inside the astral while being inside the physical
Yeah.
plane. Like even with the pyramid, I learned about like how with the pyramid structure, literally kept them inside the astral plane while being in the physical plane. That's why when they talk to different beings that live with inside the astral, they're literally seeing them as if they're physical. And I'm like, so it started making things make a lot more sense. So yeah, that's one thing I've picked up
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. So let's get into round three, ancient Egypt. So when you say that they can leave their body at will, so they're pretty much in the astral, that's very true, because they were leaving their body so often that the bridge to the what we call the other side here, and the bridge to physical life and reality, that bridge was gone. You know what I mean? It was like it was, so for people to give context to people, the round three is like a physical life here. Like you had a physical body. Of course, we were bigger and had abilities and things like that. But this is why. It's because we were literally leaving our body, and the bridge between the two worlds was gone. There was no veil of forgetfulness, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense, bro. It's crazy because I used to when I would go inside the pyramids, they showed me this one chamber where like they could put your body on a bed and then
On a
like
bed. Yeah. Yeah.
and then it,
Yeah.
they kind of like turn you upside down and kind of have your head aligned with certain holes in the pyramids that go to the stars, and it will literally just shoot you into the stars. And with certain initiations, that's what you kind of had to do. It's like you couldn't hit a certain point in your journey unless you literally got out of your body. Like that was like so common for them. And I learned that also through certain past lives where I was like a priest kind of figure for the Anubis consciousness. Because when it comes to deities, although they could appear as actual beings, they were actually meant to be different symbolic personifications of different aspects of yourself in reality. Which is why the mythology, when you read it, it tunes your mind to embody different parts of yourself. So with Anubis being like this at a base aspect discernment, but the second aspect, the opener of ways, it kind of would help open that energy, helps to open you up to the higher spiritual place of existence. So living those past lives, I saw how I would actually take people through these initiations. There's all different kinds of chants they would use and stuff like that to tune your mind. You had to go through like certain I guess you would say baptisms, like for lack of a better term and stuff like that. It's all different kinds of stuff though. And they would put you on that bed and like separate your body and stuff like that. You could be in the astral plane for like days. Like you might be out for like 3 days traveling the stars and stuff like that, talking to all these different
Yeah.
kinds of things, and
Yeah.
you come back a whole different person. And then that's when it got to
Yeah.
stargates too, because you could take your body with you. Sometimes you went through a stargate, which was crazy as heck
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we say, that's why everybody asks me what the stars are. I'm like, they're basically portals. Like, and if you line up the pyramids with them, I'm actually doing a presentation right now as to like why this is a thing. But if when you line up certain pyramids to them with the frequency, and you line up with it, that each star is correlated to a specific time and place within this construct. Um, like it's insane. Um, yeah, so stars are basically like portals, or dimensional space access points for sure.
Literally, bro. And it's crazy. That's stars had been. I was talking about stars about maybe a month ago when it came to the whole entire the flat Earth, like how the flat Earth thing actually works. Because like people don't realize that when we say the word plane implies flat. Where the heck my camera just go? There, my bad. I'm over here glitching and stuff. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm over here glitching.
Okay.
But the word
Oh, we lost him. We lost him. He'll come back. He'll come back. Well, what's up, Bam?
Just here,
Welcome back. We got a
taking it
special
all in.
guest for you guys. We got Bam Heck in the house. How you been, Bam?
I'm just lovely, very enticed and I exit the other day. I was telling you, and and life has a way to take your focus away from the things that really matter. Sometimes some of us are more dedicated to a craft than others. So, but listening both of y'all talk is like I want it to be
Get
night.
you excited,
Yeah,
right?
I'm like,
Yeah,
all right, be
yeah,
over there. Caffeine, calm down. Let me go.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear
yeah,
you. Oh, I see Lova's here. She says hi.
hey Lova. And
Yeah, yeah.
I was listening to GenieDot the other day, preparing for this live, and he was talking about something really interesting, which was the spirituality dilution, like self dilution, like dilute yourself with other things, and like not focusing so much on what really matters, which is spirituality and growing as a being, because everything that we do, we're not just being curious, we're expanding our knowledge so that our being continues to excel. So yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
interesting to see what
yeah,
what his take on that.
yeah. This young man, Genie, man, he's definitely got some great insights, and he has a lot of experiences, man. And before one of the reasons why I brought him in, I want somebody that's going to come in and embody truth, and integrity, right? So, he actually put me on to a place underneath Hawaii by like California, where there's a pyramid there, and we'll get into it when he comes back. But I heard him talking about it when I found him, so I went there, and sure enough, there was a fucking golden pyramid under there. I'm like, all right, this kid is legit.
Awesome.
What's up, Genie? Oh, let me let him in.
All right.
What's up, Genie?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Welcome
just
back,
take that.
bro.
I'm gonna take this on the chin. Shut up with certain things. I know when to shut up. I won't go switch to what I was gonna say. So
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, yep. The other side communicates like that, bro. When you get into
yeah,
too much, it shuts it off. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So I'm just
for
gonna
sure.
shut about what I was gonna say. Long story short, though, I learned about how when they made stars, they would literally program the stars to essentially hold information for certain timelines on here on Earth. Because I remember you mentioned cracks in the firmament. That was so perfect. Because on the other side, you clearly see how it's like freaking light from the other side shining into this
Yeah,
into this construct and stuff like that. So yeah, but the stuff I was gonna say
bro.
before that,
And
I'll leave that out.
that's why I love these types of conversations, because like when you hear somebody else say it and then you go out and you see it, you're like, oh yeah, that is it. Now I see. Because when you just see these things, you're like, what the fuck am I looking at? Like you have no
Literally.
you know what I mean? Yeah, and then when you hear other people talking about these things, and then you're like, oh yeah, now and things start to click for you, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just before you joined back, me and Bam were talking about how I was telling him how before I brought you on, obviously I had to check validity, and I
Yeah.
heard you talking about a place by Hawaii where there's a pyramid there, and sure enough, I went there. There was a pyramid, and so I'll say what my interpretation of it is, and then we'll get yours. So when I went there, it's like as soon as I go there, so it's just pretty much the same type of thing as Egypt, right? Where the pyramids, when you go there, they're lined up with stars. So as soon as you enter them, you're basically in another realm. I got
Mm-hmm.
that same type of feeling when I entered here. And I believe it is a place of records for like the Lemuria time period, or Eden time period, one of those time periods where it's a little bit higher than Egypt, I would say.
Yeah, when I went there, that big ass pyramid, I saw how it was one like a big ass like energy conductor and stuff like that. But then two, the whole place in general with it's like the pyramids themselves held information. That's why they're made of like crystal, because crystals hold information. So going inside them, I learned more about that Lemurian time period, which essentially does link with the Eden. Because when I once again, when you confirm that the fourth realm was called the realm of Eden, I'm like, okay, cool. Because I was learning that during that Lemurian time period, humans were more aligned with their like original template, you could say. kind of like how inside the Bible, when the Garden of Eden it was made, it's like they say that God made Adam, and then he was in the image of God and stuff like that. But then at some point they fall from Eden. It's like Lemuria is the period of time where they were first connected to the template more of who they're supposed to be, and they began to fail. They began to fall as time goes on and stuff like that. I learned a bit about that inside that place. I think it was called Telos, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's
Telos?
really
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah, Telos. I can never remember the name either because you never hear it anywhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm like, I never hear anybody talking about these things, bro. That's why this work is so great, because with doing these things, and when we get our collections down, we can have the whole story of creation down pat, and because these things are not talked about anywhere, for sure. And this is kind of where I kind of start to get confused myself, because when you talk about the fall of the Lemuria time period and stuff, I'm almost inclined to say that that's part of the reset process, where you reset. Like, I'm almost under the belief that, now I don't have validation from it. This is just based off of my experiences and where I'm at right now with it. But I'm almost under the belief that every realm, right, you have an experience, you have a play out, and then there's a reset, and then it goes down to the next realm, and then you have a play out, and then there's a reset, and then it goes down to the next realm. Like, some big catastrophic event or reset happens, and then that's where we're like, okay, now we can reset the game. Let's tweak the foundations. Let's program it a little differently, and then boom, you have a whole new realm. And then I believe in realm 1 particularly, there's just been so many resets in this one realm we've just been on a loop.
yeah, because hold on, I have a marker in there because I gotta draw a diagram at some point. But I got a marker. Cool, perfect. So I'll just speak as I'm drawing this diagram, right? But
yeah,
I've kind of experienced that too. When I realized that when the ice wall got put up, that was definitely a reset, for sure. And when it comes to how different planes are structured, they're inside of these things called fourths and octaves. So I'm gonna draw that out real quick. I always do this. I'm just 9, 8, 7, 6,
for
5,
sure.
4.
Visuals are always the best way to for sure. Nothing but truth says, I hope that there is no more resets.
Definitely.
I
And
don't believe there will be.
You think I think the last one might have been like the flood, maybe, but I haven't really.
Yeah, it was. And it was kind of recent.
Yeah. I know it's trippy because I haven't fully went out of body and seen it, but I would just get downloads about this. Like, yeah, the flood was the last one. It actually was not as far as you think. I'm like, I gotta learn more about that. But there's been so many things I've been trying to learn. I'll be over here, then over here, and over here.
Yeah,
that's why we need more out of body travelers, bro. We need people dedicated to.
It takes a community, man, for sure. Like, I figure out this, you figure out that, and let's all come back together, man, and piece it together for sure.
Literally, man. I keep on. I'm over here rushing, so I'm messing up my diagram. But I'm gonna take my time.
Man, take your time.
We have all day.
Take your time.
So I'm gonna take my time.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing to do. So another thing that I want to talk about, when you say the ice wall was put up, now this is something that I want you guys to understand here. The ice wall was done intentionally to separate things, right? You can think of this construct as an experiment, right? Now, the beings that created this place, did they necessarily set up the ice wall? No. However, there are beings and entities within this construct or universe that do have control and are able to manipulate the physical in this realm.
Yes.
Those are the entities and beings that set up the ice wall. And why was that? That was because of, they were in cahoots with the government control. They wanted to get a control structure and see how humanity can essentially reset and build in a controlled environment like this. Now, beyond the ice wall, it's a lot more free. All right. Now, one place beyond the ice wall is Neo Soul. I'm posting a testimonial of my partner Lova. She leaves her body too. She went and she went beyond the ice wall, was shown a map and a whole bunch of things. So that confirmed for both of us that Neo Soul is in fact beyond the ice wall. And Neo Soul, bro, is a city. It's so advanced. It's like imagine humanity where we are now if we just kept progressing for like 500-600 years.
Man, I definitely want to visit that place for sure. I don't know how I'm gonna get. I'm gonna just say Neo Soul one day and hopefully I just appear there. Because that's how things work
Yeah.
on the other side. You kind of just tap into a frequency and you're there and stuff like that. So, and
Yeah.
I just made this diagram. It's gonna link to what you were just saying, right? So inside this diagram, right, when I was shown, oh my gosh, I'm
Oh,
glitching.
it's
When I was
kind of.
let me when I was shown the omniversal construct, right? You have 13, that's what they call like source consciousness. And you have like the 12 main planes, right? And they get all connected like this. Now I call them fourths because although it's like 1, 2, 3 on my screen, I think it's kind of, I could probably flip my camera actually to make it look better. Let me do that. And let me also just turn off these visual effects real quick. I'll do it like that. And then I'll flip my camera. All right, boom. So
All right.
like I was saying, right? So really it's like 1 through 2, 2 through 3, but to keep it simple, 1 through 3, right? Now, I would assume, I don't fully know this, but I would assume that within inside of the physical plane that the realms work the same way, where they're connected in certain ways. So like with Egypt, it seems like Egypt is the last period. That's like the period of time that everyone likes to talk about, even outside the physical plane, or even inside like the realm 1, which I'm assuming that's because 3, 2, and 1 are inside the same. They call it a harmonic universe or an arc verse or just a harmonic or just a fourth. There's so many different names for it. I'll just say they're inside the same harmonic universe. So with planes 1 through 3, that's like with the greater construct, you have the physical plane, the etheric plane, the astral plane. When it comes to the earthly construct, this would be like realm 1 Earth, realm 2, that's like the galactic realm, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, boom. The round 3 you have like that Egypt period, and those all 3 are connected. And it seems like with the different resets, it's like a drop between realms and also a drop between harmonics. So with inside 5, 4, and 3, the information kind of stays a bit the same, but there's like a
Hold
huge
on. Let's
reset.
let's pause
Go
this
ahead.
for a second. So when he's
Go ahead.
saying harmonics, people, he's talking about frequency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, frequency. So there's a shift in frequency because this whole construct is set up based off of frequency. So what he's saying is realms 1, 2, and 3 essentially have the same frequency, you can say, but there's still a
Yeah,
dramatic difference
there is,
between 1 and
because
3.
I could
Yeah.
even draw circles in between every single one here because there's so many different connections. But even with the word arc verse, because they're all called arc verses, right? The word arc verse literally means a great pattern of vibration. A verse is a pattern of vibration. The word arc means great. So with inside of these separate frequencies of 1, 2, and 3, they're part of one greater frequency of whatever you want to call that. With the greater construct, is called the universe, then the multiverse, then metaverse, megaverse, superverse, hyperverse. And those are all like a certain set of frequencies which mesh together. Once again, these are all still very separate, but they're sort of like the same bandwidth of frequency. And it seems
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you have
Very well said.
it's like you have smaller resets between every single plane, but then like these greater resets between like the different harmonics and stuff like that. And that's why with the Egyptians could still connect to like Eden and the heavenly realms and stuff like that. But it's like on Earth, the highest we get to is like Egypt until we actually live from that Egyptian frequency and then get higher to like Eden, the heavenly planes, then so on and so forth. That's at least how I
Yeah.
see it for right now.
Oh, so when
Yeah.
you talk about, the higher you get on a certain frequency, right? Which what does that mean for us? Like, what does that frequency look like? Do you understand what they understood? Then you gain access.
Yeah, so the same way that the Egyptians kind of lived inside the astral plane, you can do that right now if we got to that frequency and we got to that state of evolution. I love to study like different Taoist immortals and the Hindu immortals because these beings are so advanced that they can take their bodies with them to higher planes. They could dematerialize and rematerialize. Like the stuff that we are really capable of is actually insane because our DNA is built to mirror the construct that we're inside of, which means that if we were fully activated, we could actually move our bodies
Yeah. Yeah,
through the
nigga.
different
Yeah.
realms and even through higher planes too. So with the Egyptians, it's like while being within inside of realm 3, they were also connected with the greater astral plane of existence, you could say, which is why leaving their body was very easy for them. They could see different beings around them very easily. If you were to live like an Egyptian, you would probably see that there's many beings around you right now. Because even with like developing like your mental, spiritual sight, you can see beings around you. Like I try to do that, especially during nighttime, to see what's are actually around me before going to sleep, because likely those energies be inside my dreams in some way, shape, or form. So long story short, yeah, when you raise yourself to that frequency of like the Egyptians, you kind of begin to tap into what they tapped into and access what they accessed.
Yeah.
Well, I don't get to see like visually a lot, but I know when there's, because usually there's not much around me that wants to be there unless it's matching my vibe. But certainly feel when something it's around, and I speak to it, whatever it is. I'll tell them, no, if you're around me, let's learn a little love, learn a little learn a little courage, and come for the ride. So
Yeah, honestly, that's because people, I'm not saying you're doing this, but so I doubt that you are. But there's people in the world who will be like, I don't see, so I'm not that advanced. But like you, there's so many different ways of spiritually sensing information, and seeing isn't even always good, because something could appear beautiful and it's not beautiful at all. You got to know intent when it comes to certain beings too. Some beings might look scary, like me, bro. I can't stand spiders, for example. Like in real life, I hate how spiders look, and and there's partially past life connection with that with spiders. We got a little like weird beef, but there was actually one spider being around me that actually had good intent. Now my human self would say, "Ugh, fucking big ass spider, like get out of here! Like, I'm gonna hit you or something like that." But like the intent behind it, it could actually teach me something. So the way that things look isn't always important. Just being able to actually sense a being and know its intent, that's amazing. So if some of you guys are like Bam, and y'all don't really see like that, that's still fine. Cause like Bam just said, he'll still know, he can still talk to them and is lit. We all have different abilities. We're all at different levels with different senses and stuff like that. It's like in real life. Some people have
Now,
amazing ears.
let me tell you why we all have different abilities and things, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you see how all the realms are separated through frequency?
Mm-hmm.
We all come in through a certain frequency, through a certain bandwidth, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all come in through a certain frequency, a certain bandwidth. So within that, certain abilities lock into you because you're tied to certain frequencies throughout the construct and universe. So yeah, that I just wanted to say that.
Go ahead, Genie. It's so good.
I'm glad you said that, because this actually could tie to the concept of star seeds, right? Because a lot of people feel like they're a star seed, and that might be because you came in. It's like your soul template might be a bit more galactic in nature, so you might come in through the frequency of the galactics and stuff like that. Like somebody like me, I'm actually very tied to ETs, which honestly, when I first heard about star seeds, like when I was like 15, I was like, okay, this might be real, but it sounded like some bullshit. Like I wasn't even I wasn't even with that for real,
yeah, for real. I was like, what the fuck you mean you a star seed? Like,
yeah, I'm like, what are we talking about right now? But then over time, I actually started having experiences with that. I'm like, oh, this is a real thing. So I began to understand that.
I think that
it's more so like it's more so like they had a lot of lifetimes as an ET, and then they came and before they were here on Earth, that's where they last was an ET. So then they left being an ET, and then they came here to help wake up humanity. Similar to me, the last place I was beyond the ice wall, chilling, preparing to come here for this mission. It's just like that. I'm not sitting here saying, I'm from beyond the ice wall. Like, no, I'm a human.
Yeah.
But I think that and that's where I wanted to take it, because a lot of us, and usually a lot of people come in not a lot of people come in my life, but certain people come in my life that I know you just here for this time. I have a friend of mine, he's got a bad addiction, and and people shun him. But one of the first things he told me is like, look, I want to be the lowest person on this place if I get to see the vision that I always had since I'm a little kid, which is we all move out of this state of slavery. If I get to be left behind and everybody can go, I'm good with that. And a lot of people put him down. They think he's fiend, whatever it is, but his mind frame always held a vision of freedom for our race. So I think that a lot of us saying, we're here at this time and like talking about star seeds, I believe that that is the truth. I believe that there is more of us that came into this time because and Jeannie, you might be able to shed some light on that, and Andre, but it feels a lot like I'm fed up. I'm fed up with the control structures. You know what I mean? And all they do is bring our abilities like so low, like in general, we have to really put a lot of, we're talking about how the Egyptians, boom, let's go, now you have people like us that have to really train ourselves, really overcome our humanity, really reprogram our DNA, but like eat clean,
And
like so
and to touch on what you're talking on, Bam, that's exactly why. So why were the Egyptians, why did they have these abilities? It's because they knew how this construct worked, right? They were in a physical body, but they understood the nature of reality, right? That's why what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to piece together how this reality really works, how this universe works, and then showing people how to live in harmony with it. You know what I mean? Like conduce electricity. Why is this important? It's because this is all essentially like an electric circuit here. It's all frequency, energy, and vibration. It literally is. So I'm trying to break down why it is that way by describing the mechanics of the place and then telling people how to live in conducive to that, so we can unlock those abilities, right? So it's a form of fighting back to that control structure for sure.
yeah.
And I want to add something too. This kind of relates back to what we're talking about with how you have like all different kinds of souls and stuff like that. So something I've been accessing big actually recently is these different domains that you have within inside of the different planes of existence. So to pull up this diagram again, I'm going to do that real quick. When you look at this structure in these planes, or these different planes, right? 7, 6, and 5 deals with, I call that the domain of the spirit, because I've been taught, because I talk to Arcturians a lot. There's certain ET beings, they are very specific. I bet you do, bro. They are so specific. They're like I'll say something. They're like, no, say it like this. I'm like, oh, my bad, bro. Okay, cool. But they're nice. They're nice. I want to say that, but they're anyway. So with your spirit, right? Your spirit is like this infinite eternal energy, which could split off into multiple different souls. So with that being said, right, inside of this they call it the metaverse, right? Inside of this harmonic, you have a certain domain purely for your spirit. Now your spirit kind of exists inside of its own realm. Think about it like you have your own galaxy to yourself, right? But then you have a soul in the domains of the soul down here, because the soul begins on that fifth plane level. Now your soul is like, it's the consciousness which you'll use to focus into a specific time, into a specific point of space and time. So like right now, my soul is focused here. All of our souls are focused right here, right now. We could, of course, leave with our soul and go other places, but our soul is connected with our greater spirit, which holds all of our information. It has all of our past lives, present lives, future lives. It has all that inside of there. Now, I'm saying this because with the side of like your own personal realm for your spirit, it's like you have different dimensional spaces for each of your souls, you could say. So think about it like you have a big galaxy for your spirit, and there's different stars inside that galaxy for your soul. So, or for the different souls which you will use, because some you'll use the same soul for certain lifetimes, like during your galactic lifetimes, you may be the same soul inside every galactic lifetime.
So this goes into when people say they remembered certain lifetimes of theirs for this life. like say they may remember 3 lifetimes of theirs particularly. Like Matthias De Stefano's famous for this. He recalls 3 specific lifetimes that help him with this. That's just a certain fraction of his whole soul's memory that he brought here, because these human bodies are so bogged down. We can't take all of our soul's memory into these physical bodies. We just can't. You know what I mean? So that's why you divide it like that and bring in certain memories here. Now, when you're leaving your body, you can access everything. That's why the first time I went to Neo Soul, I got there from accessing my soul records. And the reason why I was brought there was because that was where I was at before I was here in preparation for this, you know. Certain people I've met here, you know, all types of stuff.
And that leads to what I was about to mention too, because on this 6th level, right before you hit the 5 with the soul, you have, I call it the architectural plane, right? That's how the Arcturian said it to me. This is where the template for your soul actually gets made. So your spirit will literally be like, okay, I have different parts of me, right? Like Matthias De Stefano, his spirit is vast, way beyond those 3 past lives. But for this incarnation, his spirit said, we're going to add this part of myself, this part of myself, and this part of myself. And it makes a template centered around certain past lives, and it will send it into creation. So that way, when your soul awakens, it mainly awakens to those 3 main past lives per se. Like with me, really like on the galactic side of things, like inside of my soul's template, there's specific galactic lives which I tap into the most, but I could still access lives beyond the galactic stuff. There's lives I have that kind of go beyond like the universe in general.
This whole construct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because your spirit and your soul existed outside the construct in the first place. Your spirit has to make a soul to even be in the construct, because your spirit can exist in many places at once. It's like you have freaking different souls spread all over the place outside the construct.
Yeah. So
I agree with that 100%, because anytime I exit, you know, and remember, because any exit, and y'all can attest to this, you remember vividly. Like you could go back to that memory today right here, and you know, and every time I've been to all these different places, it's like you're joining a scene that was already in motion. It's not like boom, you start creating this. No, it's like you're literally accessing another part of you that was already engaging in something. And a lot of places I don't recognize, you know, y'all have a lot more, you know, you know where you're at. Sometimes I'm like, this is pretty cool. I just don't know where it is.
Now that was, bro. Actually, I left my body. What was it? Probably like Tuesday, I think. When I left, when I first even went to sleep, I kind of just like access certain past lives. But then I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I was just chilling, playing with like my third eye. And that's when I learned that your third eye can actually like shift the frequency that you're in right now and then bring you to sleep paralysis. It was really interesting how that worked. But I'm saying this because when I popped out, I was seeing stuff. I don't know what I was seeing, bro. I seen vast kingdoms that were built in such a geometrical way, but I don't even know where it is. I don't know if it's outside the construct, inside the construct. I have no idea.
You know where it is. Yeah.
But what I do know is that at some point it's gonna pop up again, and I will know. This always happens because when I was first leaving my body, I went to so many places I had no idea what it was. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but it's cool. I feel great right now. And then over time, as years goes on, I finally understood what it actually is. And I noticed that a lot of places which we tend to visit at first, we usually have some kind of past life connection there. Like the main places that I've accessed very often is because I've been there in past lives. And it's like as you tap into your soul, you tap into the greater consciousness that your soul comes from, your spirit, and the different past lives which your spirit holds. And it's like this soul that you have right now is embodying more of your spirit every time that you visit new places, because once again, your spirit's likely already been there. You probably already have a certain lifetime there, which your soul is growing to be able to access right now.
So what you're saying with spirit, and I'm happy you're using that word because people always ask me where does spirit come in, and I never really connected it because what you're referring to as spirit, I just refer to as my higher self, my
Yeah.
overarching soul. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
spirit is another good term to define that for sure. For sure. So like when you say that your spirit can split up into different souls into different constructs, I would say that as okay, my soul, my higher self, I can split up my consciousness and have different experiences. So like I identify with my spirit, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that's what I am, you know.
Mhm.
Already,
Well,
yeah.
I think what my understanding with that, and that came also through traveling, is that spirit is like the actual energy that gives all of it life, and then through that energy identifies to different soul experiences. That's what the memories held. Am I correct?
No, that's essentially, yeah, it's correct. Because you're once again, your spirit, the way it got defined to me was that your spirit is pretty much an infinite eternal energy,
Yeah.
which can split
Mhm.
itself off into smaller energies that have their own separate consciousness and awareness. And then all those different awarenesses, you could call those different souls because your soul's
Oh,
like a fragment of your spirit. But the way Andre says it, it's still accurate. It's a different terminology. Because like I would always say that too, your spirit is like your highest self. It's the highest of all your selves. Then you have like many higher selves that would be like, for example, let's say you have a life. I'm gonna use alien lifetime. So let's say you have a Lyran lifetime, Arcturian lifetime, and an Anunnaki lifetime, right? Okay, cool. Once you die as a Lyran, or once you ascend as a Lyran, if you were in tune with your spirit as a Lyran, that soul literally still exists inside of the realm of your spirit. And this is what I tapped into recently, like about like for like the past 2 weeks, where I can literally be in my own realm and different sections of my own realm hold different aspects of me, different past lives, which are aligned with my spirit. And it's like even that small, like that Lyran self, for example, that's like a mini higher self, which can guide this soul, me being Genie right now. It's like I'm a separate soul, but I still embody those other souls because once you connect to your spirit, you embody all your past lives. But until you connect with your spirit, you have a
All right.
certain range of what you connect with inside your template. Certain parts of your spirit are crafted into your template, which you are going to essentially embody. Like you'll look like those parts of yourself, you will act like them to some extent. Everything about your human self is going to reflect what's inside your template, which comes from what your
All right.
spirit put inside your template. It gets really expansive,
So
but you had the right
yeah.
idea for sure.
But I think so. I think what's going on here is this ties into the fact that all time is happening at once, right? So when you say that certain aspects of yourself still exist, they do. For an example, when you go to visit a past life, you may enter and step into that body and experience it as if it's happening right now. So in a sense, it is happening. However, your soul is in this body in this reality right now, 100%. All of our souls are here. But that doesn't mean that these other things are not existing at the same time. If that kind of makes sense.
Bro, that's perfect because a new term I've been getting, even though I'm saying past lives, they've been calling them parallel lives because once again, it's all happening now.
Yeah.
Once
That's
you
that's yo.
go ahead.
My
No, go
my
ahead, go
my
ahead.
partner Lola, she had the same download as that, where it's not. She was talking to somebody. She was like, "Oh, you're my past life," and they were like, "It's not a past life. It's kind of like a parallel life." Same exact term. Same exact term.
Yeah,
Yo.
because your spirit exists outside time and space, and when your soul first got made, it was also outside time and space. Time and space comes into play when you get like the universe, right? Which is the first like physical plane, etheric plane, astral plane. That's like as you start getting space and time and stuff like that. So beyond that, there is no space and time, and different parts of yourself still exist. And it's funny because the Egyptians, they said that when you become enlightened inside this life, that you'll become a star or a nut's body. Now, the symbolism is the fact that, like I said before, your spirit has its own realm, its own galaxy. Your different past lives or parallel lives have their own dimensional spaces, their own stars. So, with that being said, if you, as a being right now, this personality, if you become enlightened, whatever you want to call it, you, when you die, you'll exist inside of your own personal realm. As for example, me, I'd be Genie. So I could die, and then now I'm inside my own realm. I have my Genie self, I have the Lyran self, I have this dragon self I could talk to, and we're still all the same person, but we can experience
Yeah, but
ourselves
you
different.
can yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. It's cool.
let's go down that path real quick, because that's exactly what liberation looks like. And you know what the downloads I've been receiving lately is, you know, here, when you become that liberated self, you know, that goes above the limitations that you put yourself under, because we chose to come here for whatever reason. But once you become liberated here in your mind, you know, because you take your mind anywhere you go, your awareness, your consciousness, it follows you, goes with you, if I'm not mistaken. But so when we, and my understanding, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think that there are other uh entities that needed our example on how to overcome all that fear, because fear, it's a big, I mean, it's the one thing that's going to keep us enslaved to something else. So as we show our courage, which is not lack of fear, but moving in spite of it, as we show our courage, we become free from all these little self-imposing limitations. And there are other beings that need to follow that example, so that we all can inhabit that place where you're talking about, where you have your full identity working for you in that particular or new place of creation.
Now, I could agree with that because I had somebody ask me on a podcast. They were like, "So why are we here right now?" Right?
Yeah, thank you. That's where I was going. Why are we here right
And it's
now?
like it depending on what kind of soul you are, you could say there's different purposes. Because when you say why we're here, you could go from the perspective of like what they call God or source. That consciousness, whatever you want to call it, you can't even describe what that thing really is. It's so beyond everything, but that thing wants to just experience itself. But then when you get lower and lower, the purpose could change. Some people want to save others. Yeah, like some of us want to save other souls.
Yeah,
If there's a soul that's trapped, we want to save that soul. Some souls actually kind of wanted to be trapped. Some souls got so bored with their divinity and with their immortality that they're like, yo, what is it like to be a slave? I'm going to try that out real quick. But then even while trying that, they may forget that they chose that. And now they'll actually stay a slave for too long. And then someone like us comes
yeah,
to save
yeah,
them, for
yeah,
example. You know,
yeah.
so it's so many
So
different reasons why we're here. But like people like us, we are here to awaken the collective and to show them that this is possible. You can become this immortal enlightened being and exist beyond all of this inside your own divinity perfectly.
So as far as all this, you know, because there we're, yeah, we are 8 billion here, man. And this
I don't
conversation,
know. That 8 billion
no,
might be a lot.
we're a bunch of people,
Yeah,
and it seemed like the majority is waking up to feed a machine that's keeping those ice walls nice and thick and making them thicker, right? So these conversations are happening in small pockets, every day more, every day more, every day more. You know, I went to Sherwood to the paint store yesterday. These two guys were like you, young in their early 20s, talking about this. My brother-in-law, at the end of the night, he's talking about this. Like, look, I really kind of want to get beamed up, you know, like I want one of these ships to take me, you know what I mean? So I think that there is like this collective thing in our stomach telling us, look, there's more to this. I don't want to wake up every day to be away from my family for 10 hours and then cook dinner and go to sleep and do it over and over and over again, because there's more to life than this. And we know it intrinsically because we are free souls. Like you said, we might have picked this prison temporarily, and some of us picked it to break out and bring us other with us. But um
yeah,
go ahead.
yes. So I just want to. That was great, Bam. You're right. You're spot on for sure. But I just want to touch on to when Jeannie said All right. So he said, some people, when you're in your soul, right, and you choose to have an experience here, you choose, you're like, yo, if you're an almighty God and you're just chilling all day, you can create anything and do anything that you want. You might want to experience what it's like to have a limitation, right? And come here on earth. And you might even want to take it a step further than that and not just come in a physical body and have a limitation, but have an extreme limitation, such as being a slave. Now, what he meant when he said some people get stuck in that is because once you cross through the veil of forgetfulness, the experience may be so extreme and you may be so low and so down, especially in this human experience, that once you get out of here, you may still have that slave mentality in your head, because your thoughts and your feelings and emotions, they all go with you when you get out of here. So you can essentially enslave and entrap yourself repeatedly and repeatedly until you break out of that. And that's why conversations like these are so powerful, because conversations like these help awaken people to the truth and bring them back to their divinity. But very well said, Genie. Very well said.
Yeah, man. This how, like, when they mention karma, right? Like, your karmas are essentially past actions that you've done, but not just physical. It's also the thoughts, the emotional actions, right? So if you have gotten used to being a slave, you have all the tendencies of a slave. So now when you come back, you just live from those tendencies. I'm gonna be a slave. I'm gonna be a slave. I'm gonna be a slave. And that's how you get caught, like you say, you get caught inside that loop. And that's why there needs to be other souls that can help you say, listen, you don't gotta just be a slave. Like, did you forget that you are a literal divine being? Like, you want to be a slave one time, that's cool, but 100,000 times now, it's kind of wild, bro. Let's get you out of here, you know. And people, that's why also. That's also why
it's really just like that, though.
Yeah,
Correct.
That's why accessing template inside your soul is so important, because before you came inside this life, there's a certain template literally ingrained inside your soul that says you have certain parts of you that are going to play out right now. You have certain timelines that you have access to, and you have this one mission that you want to come here for. So you may realize that, oh, I wanted to be weak for a little bit, but I already went through that. Now it's time for the next part. Now I want to be someone that helps other people to stop being weak. Because another reason why, because some people want to be a slave just to get the experience. Other people want to go through something so that way they know how to wake people up out of it. Because it's kind of hard to relate to somebody if you haven't been through what they've been through. So there's actually some times when you might literally incarnate for the simple purpose of, if I had that slave experience, I can now help out other slaves. And this is where you have, like, I want to say stronger souls, but stronger souls. You have some souls that are stronger. And
we can say
like,
souls that have more experience.
Yeah, we'll put it like that. That's definitely way better. So souls with more experience, they have the ability to go inside these denser places that limit your frequency to the point where you can't remember as much, and they know how to actually navigate that and then open up their frequency again to the higher parts of themselves. That's why you have other souls that will choose to have a horrible experience for the simple purpose of waking up other people. I know inside my life, man, there's been so many things I've been to where I'm just like, why did I go through that? But then I learned, like, oh, I went through that and got out of it so I can help other people do the same exact thing. Besides that, it served me no purpose. And there's people right now who did the same thing, but they forgot that they did that. And those are likely the people who are waking up right now. Because there's people who are still asleep right now, not caring about any of this. But there's also people who are currently waking up to the fact that, oh, wait, I'm a divine being. I have a purpose. You could have been one of those people who came here to forget, so that way you know how to actually wake up again, right? And now you're watching people like us and stuff like that. And not like it's like, and I don't want to seem like it's like some hierarchy of like, we're better than you. It's nothing like that at all. No, we just happen to come into the truth maybe a bit faster than some other people. But that doesn't mean that when you awaken, you won't be your own crazy kind of being. Better when you awaken, once you awaken, you get access to everything that's divine about yourself, which can appear like someone may start flying right now. Like I'm talking to you. You might
Bro,
look up
I
to me.
swear to God,
Me,
I swear to
I'm
God,
about to take off, bro.
I tell people all the time. I said the day I see a carpenter walk on water, I'm gonna fucking fly.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna worship that man. I'm about to fly. Fuck it, it's game on.
literally.
You know what I mean?
So,
And
so yeah, go ahead.
I'm saying I can second that because I had an encounter with one of these races, and people that follow me heard it, and so I got into this place, and they're telling me, no, we're here, we're gonna get in your way, blah blah blah. But I'm like, that brought to another series. You said out of the air, when before we went live, you said, me and my man, we were fighting demons and stuff, and I've been, in on those fights, and I'm like, why am I going
Bam
through this?
always out here trying to fight somebody. Bam a fighter, y'all. Bam always out here fighting these motherfuckers.
But that's my point. I had to go through that so that I can tell you, hey, they just trying to scare you. They can't touch you. They just trying to keep you in fear. Like I overcome that. Not all, not 100%, but I could tell you, I'm still here to tell you they didn't kill me. They didn't kill me. And I stood my ground and said, you know what? Come and learn how to be free yourself. So I agree with that, which Jeannie said, that a lot of us just have to go through it because we can take it, and tell others, like, you could take it too, like that, what you're going through in your life, you can go through that and come on the other side, more powerful and more courageous. And I think that's what I'm here for. I'm here to bring clarity and courage, just show, like, hey, I've been scared, but I still move past my fear.
Yeah, I want to talk about fear real quick too, because with fear, right? Like you said this earlier, with being brave, right? The fear might still be there. You just move through it anyway. And I want to talk about, see, with fear, right? When your body gets scared, it's only a bad thing when you don't know what's happening, because your body's trying to prepare itself. If I get scared right now, right, I'm having my adrenaline pumping. If someone's trying to fight me right now and I feel fear, I could just turn that into strength. Now I got all this blood pump, I got this adrenaline. Now I can actually fight. You see, fear is only bad when you let the fear bind you. Because if you accept it, it becomes bravery. You actually rush, you have more energy to actually handle something now. There's been times where I've been inside the astral and then I felt some fear. I'm like, oh, wait, I got to get on my P's and Q's now. And it just sharpened me up. And that the fear became a certain sense of bravery and stuff like that. So if you ever have
That's
a fear,
why I always tell people when if the fear never really dissolves, especially when you're leaving your body and stuff, you have to get over the fear of dying and all that, because that doesn't exist. But the fear never really dissolves. You just have to push through it. You just do that shit anyways. Like, oh shit, I'm scared, but fuck it, I'm doing it anyways. You know what I mean? And what I've experienced is when I'm out of my body, if I have a feeling of fear, the moment that the fear may still come. When you're around realm 1 and earth, that's where fear comes. When I'm out of here, fear doesn't even exist, guys. The feeling of fear does not exist. It only exists around here. Because when you're out of your body, you're still in this frequency, right? So in this frequency, fear can exist. In this realm of duality still exists here, even out of your body. But as soon as that shift of fear, as soon as I shift it from a scary feeling to, oh, I'm not afraid, I'm going to do it anyways, it opens up everything. And then the thing that was even scary in the first place no longer exists, because then what did you do? You just became the light, my friend.
And that's perfect, because when it comes to fear, also, like you said, it doesn't really dissolve while you're here. Like, if you're about to leave your body, that takes a lot of energy, right? Fear can actually give you the energy, but you got to accept it first and not be bound by it. Because I noticed that people are fearful of fear itself. They feel fear and want to run away from the fear instead of being like, oh, I feel this, let's do it anyway. Because once that happens, that same fear energy becomes a new energy that can really push you out of your body. Like, I don't know if you guys had the same experience as me, but when I leave my body, a lot of times I literally feel like the base of my spine starting to vibrate and then like shoot me up sometimes. It doesn't always go like that, but sometimes that happens.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like all types of shit. You're saying what it feels like you're shooting up from your spine.
It's like I have my spine boiling up. Now their would just go up and I'll just pop out. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes I'm just on my bed, then I'm paralyzed. I
Are you? Let me ask you. Are you practicing semen retention?
Oh yeah, of course.
You are. That's why. That's your energy rolling up your spine. So as your frequency begins to elevate, as you practice semen retention, it will start to. It's all energy, right? And when
Yeah,
you're
literally.
preserving your life force energy, it shoots up your spine. That's just one of the things that happens. That happened to me when I was practicing semen retention.
All right, real quick. Let's stay there real quick. So let's run on a tell us what a regular day in the life of GenieDot is, so that people have, because there are certain things that are going to aid in the process of, because I was watching your stuff when I didn't know about you until Andre told me that we're gonna have a conversation, and I watched some of your stuff and you were talking about diluting, like spirituality dilution, spirit dilution, like so just because you are practicing certain things doesn't mean that you are increasing that spirituality, which is what we're trying to do. So could you tell us what a day, what does that your life look like, your regular life?
I got you. So I wake up, right? And when I wake up, I usually either had a whole bunch of dreams, might have left my body. I've been dreaming a lot recently on purpose so I could like navigate my own dimensional spaces and also learn about the different doorways out of dreams to go to like higher planes and stuff like that. So I wake up from my dreams, I'll write them down and stuff like that, try to understand them, get ready for work and stuff like that. I work at a school, by the way. Luckily, I actually like my job, so it's not a source of bondage for me, right? I love working with kids. But anyway, I get ready for work. First, I brush my teeth, obviously. Yo, I want to say this real quick. Your teeth are altars in the sense of your teeth are points of connection. If you don't brush your teeth, please brush your teeth, because when you have all that plaque, that's like dirty. Imagine it like dirty entities living on your teeth. That's
Yeah.
actually a real thing. There's so many points of your body that are literally altars for spiritual connection points. You need to understand. Anyway, I'll meditate for about like 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how much time I have. Might even read a book, might lift some weights a little bit, just real quick. I'll go to work, and while at work, I try to make it a very big point that after every single class, I do some kind of meditation or just become aware of my spirit again. This has changed my life a lot, because when you are constantly aware of your own spirit, you recognize different things that take you away from your spirit. People will like wake up, feel good, and then as certain things happen, their minds bugged out. They're not focused on their spirit. They have their thoughts everywhere. It's all scattered and stuff like that. So I tried to make it an avid point that at these different points after like every single class, that I'm like going to quick meditation. Like I'm not sitting there for like 10 minutes, but like I'm just closing my eyes. I could feel my spirit. I could sense it. I've been meditating for ever since I was 15. So I could get into that state real easily. And as I do that, I stay in tune with my spirit. Now, instead of having like random thoughts, I'm getting downloads all throughout the day. Shoot, sometimes I'll just be talking to the kids. I'll be like, yeah, bro, aliens this, aliens that. I had one girl tell me, she's like, aliens are actually real. They can be born inside of human bodies. This girl is like 7 years old, bro. And funny enough, she's actually like what they call a star seed. I could literally see into her alien past lives. You know what I'm saying? She don't even know it yet, though. But anyway, that's the whole other thing. Once I get home, I record a couple videos and stuff like that. Then I gotta meditate again. After I shower, get out the shower, I meditate again. I meditate really often because it's really important to keep yourself inside that kind of a state. Then at nighttime, I try to prepare by, especially nowadays, I've been using delta and theta frequencies to tune my mind to either certain dream states or out of body states. And then from there, I typically dream for the first half of the night. And if I wake up in the middle of the nighttime, I'll decide, like, do I want to leave my body or do I want to learn a specific thing through my dreams? Because when I first dream, I kind of let the dream do its own thing because it helps you to see how your mind naturally functions. And then when you set an intent before your dreams, you specifically tell your dreams how you want them to be. Sometimes I invite certain beings to my dreams, like, yo, Altorians, pull up real quick. I'm trying to learn something, you know what I'm saying? And yo, nature spirits, pull up and try to learn something real quick, you know what I'm saying? So the first half of my night, it's just random dreams, right? Whatever my mind wants to give me. Second half, it's either I'm controlling my dreams, I'm inviting certain beings, or I'm just leaving my body and stuff like that. Then after that, I wake up again, get ready for my day and stuff like that. Weekends are a bit different, but the main point of my routine that I want to really emphasize is constant meditation. I'm not saying it got to be freaking 30 minutes every single time. Although, if you do long meditations, you do train yourself to focus with inside of certain states of being, because, like with leaving your body, you could blank out sometimes because you haven't built up your focus. You can't focus on that bandwidth of frequency. So meditation can literally help with that. But simply just doing things that remind you that you are a divine being, that's so important, because even if you aren't trying to like leave your body and stuff like that, when you go to sleep at nighttime, your dreams will become messages. That's like almost guaranteed. A lot of people dream about random stuff, like a lot of people be horny, but they dream about sexual stuff, you know what I'm saying? And most of the time they get hit by a succubus, so they dream about a lot of BS, or it's like what they saw on TV and stuff like that. But when you're in tune with your spirit, when you start to dream, all your dreams will become some kind of a message. You may not always understand it, but it's like you always have a period of time to evolve spiritually at nighttime when you are constantly focused on your spirit, because what you dream about is what you're dominantly focused on. So if you're focused on your spirit, you dream about your spirit, and then you evolve more throughout the nighttime.
That's awesome.
Yeah, guys.
That's awesome.
What Genie's talking about, guys, I'm really happy you got into that, because as you can see, he's clearly focused, right? You know, and he's had a lot of success in the out of body state, and that's what's needed to do this. You need that type of focus in your life. Now, do you have to? Can you just have an out of body experience on some fluke shit? Yeah, you can. If you just try one night, yes, you can. However, it certainly does help to be focused and in this state all the time. That's how come I was able to leave my body so frequently. And I'm sure, Genie, you can attest to that. What I do is, I was in such a meditative state all the time. I didn't listen to music. I didn't watch TV. I was literally in myself the entire time. I wouldn't even have conversations with people. I'd be like, nah, I can't have that in my field. You know what I mean? I like grounding yourself. And at first I would, meditate quite frequently throughout the day. But then eventually it just became a state of being. And then when you just ride in that frequency, you can hop in and out of your body. You can do so much, man. So that was very beautiful, man.
I remember Andre telling me, like, yeah, I'm just half the time, I'm just not, like, remember there was a time in your life where you were just more out than in, like your brain was just so trained.
I went through a solid 2 weeks, bro. I went through a solid 2 weeks where, like, I didn't even sleep, bro. I was just consciously awake, just leaving my body, popping in and out of dreams. I was literally seeing and testing out, like, what does the soul do the whole time the body's asleep? So, like, my consciousness and my awareness was just awake for like 2 weeks straight. Like, I never felt the sensation of sleep. And while you're sleeping, you dip off, it's like your subconscious will start to create things, right? And then eventually your soul will kind of drift more from your body into your dream state, right? And then eventually, once your body really dips down, then your soul's out and having out of body experiences and shit. And then once you enter another sleep cycle, your soul will come back into your dream a little bit, and then you'll be in your own little place, and then you'll dip back out, bro. It was crazy.
Yeah, I love how you said that, because I haven't mentioned this too much, but I talk about sometimes how you get to a point where you literally don't sleep anymore. Like those different, like, enlightened masters, and they don't really sleep. They're either just here doing their work, or they're out in different dimensional spaces, in different realms, and different planes, because it's your body that needs sleep, not your consciousness. But if you're tied to your body, that's when you start needing sleep, because you're not getting energy from your spirit anymore. You're focused on the body, so you operate the way the body operates. So I like how you said it, because I actually experimented with this also, where like I would not sleep sometimes. Like when I didn't have a job and stuff like that, it was getting wild over here, you know.
Oh, I was
So
working. I was working.
you still
It's
working?
still just
Now, that's wild, bro.
yeah, yeah. I was working. I was coming back like, oh shit. I was here, and last night, and then that's why I quit my job, bro, because I was literally leaving so much, and I was being on the other side so much, and then I had to flip a switch and talk down and
Yeah,
like lower my consciousness to go to work, and that shit was crazy. I couldn't do that no more.
I definitely feel you on that, bro, because having
Mhm.
no being just in certain spaces alone, you have to try to fit in per se, not even for the sake of other people, but for yourself. Because how are you going to be trying to talk to people and you got certain beings in your ear talking to you about the search of reality? It's kind of wild. Like sometimes I'm literally at work and I'm seeing a being to the left of me. I'm like, I want to talk to you, but I got to focus on these kids right now. And it's like, yo, like, what's up right now? So I feel you on that for sure, bro. Like, when I was in working, it was definitely way more consistent experiences. But like I said, I since I'm seeing the power of dreams, I'm learning how to essentially be inside that state where you always are having some kind of an experience, but you're able to kind of ground it back to the physical world. Because even through your dreams, you learn how this reality talks to you. Like the way that your dreams give you messages, this life is a dream. So like you'll talk to certain
Mhm.
people, and that person is just a vessel for a certain part of information which you need. Because most people on earth, there are many they most people currently on earth are many different people at once. A quick way to see this, right? Sometimes when you're by yourself, you're a certain kind of person. Then you get with this friend, you're this kind of person. Then you get around your mom, you're that kind of person. So I'm saying this because when people interact with you, the way that you are can slightly change them and kind of make them a portal for certain information to literally be brought through you. Like I have a friend who is he's not really Christian, but he's kind of like under that framework a bit. But he wouldn't call himself a Christian, but he he likes the Bible. He sees God like an actual being. He calls him a certain name. But even while talking to him, I've been opening up his mind, and he'll say certain things where he's like, "Yo, I don't know where that came from." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because while around me, there's a certain frequency here, which is making your mind open to certain information, and you're actually helping me out right now. Don't even know it. Like normally, I would never really talk to a person that's like that, but his mind is becoming
Yeah.
open to
That's
certain
beautiful.
energies, which I need in my life right
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And because that's what that's the essence of who we are. Like when you're living your life, you're creating everything that's around you. So if you can hop into a room and completely change their perspective about what they thought was true, because your truth is so strong that it's molding their brain. I seen it. I sat one day I'm sitting in my living room and my kids are just fighting. My two girls, they just like they can't be at peace and they love each other. But this day, particularly, their mom is like huffing and puff. She can't take it no more.
mhm.
And I looked at all of them and I just envisioned all of them chilling. Like I'm like, all right, let me just switch this out like this. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't want to hear them fight no more. I'm not gonna say anything. And I promise you, as soon as I dropped that thought in the room, their mom stopped huffing and puffing. She smiled and she said out loud, she told the kids, like, I love how y'all play together. I love how much you love each other. I promise you, that's all she said. The whole vibe in the room changed. Like now they're playing, sharing. She's happy because they're not fighting no more. I'm like, you see, because that's our goal is to create our experience, period. And you create it here, you create it anywhere you go. I want to go to a comment real quick that was put in the comment section a little while ago. It says somebody talking about benevolent demons, right? I want to bring that up real quick because something that I learned, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. The good and evil rhetoric, or the good and evil talk, I think it's another system of control. Just because we don't understand the way a certain being eats, obviously not every creation is the same. Not every creation is compassionate. Not every creation is like human like, you know, and a lot of them, and this is what I learned, and I've seen, you know, what most people here call the big dog of evil. I've seen him a couple times, you know what I mean? And all I expressed to this being is love 2 times. So you know, I don't so I want to make something clear that just because you think, and this is me, please correct me if I'm wrong, but just because you see something as evil doesn't make it evil. Like there's ugly faces that are really not evil. They look,
Yeah.
we have a, yeah, we
I
have
just
a
did a I just did a video on
yeah,
this, the dark versus light. If you've
yeah,
seen that, yeah, it covers all that, guys. Exactly what Bam's trying to say here is appearance is not everything. Benevolent beings. What define a benevolent being? Like what would you call that? Probably if you could think in your head, probably something that looks crazy, right? Well, guess what? Those crazy looking beings probably have a lot of knowledge or wisdom inside of them. And when you're out of your body, man, you can't nothing even touch you anyway. So
Yeah, I want to talk about that too because so yeah, because I feel like what the distortion comes when you start mixing light and dark with good and evil.
yeah.
Because darkness isn't inherently evil. That's not what that means. But that's why I think it gets very distorted because there are real evil beings. Because the word evil means you want to harm somebody, right? If someone wants to harm you for no reason, like not out of defense or nothing like that, that's what you call evil, right? A benevolent being, though, doesn't have to look a certain way. It could be ugly, it could be cute. What makes it being benevolent is that it wants to actually benefit you, it wants to actually help you, wants to
Hmm.
support your growth. That's what love is. Love is supporting someone's growth, actually caring about them. So when someone said a benevolent demon, at first I'm like, wait, what? Because usually the word demon means like an evil being, but they might mean demon in a sense like an ugly being, like a being with horns and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying just because a being got horns and stuff like that, that don't make it inherently evil. It depends on its actual intent and how it wants to actually
Hmm.
interact with you. If it
Same.
wants, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's the same way. All right. So what you guys can think about these entities, it's the same way you can think about humans, right? A human can look good, but they could have bad intentions. You could get robbed by a cute girl could come to your house,
Yeah,
sleep with you,
yeah,
set you
rob you
right
for
up.
everything you got.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Same type of same shit. As above, so below. You know, just if you just think like that, that's exactly what it is. And I want to touch on something before we get too far away. What you said about dreams, I want to touch on this because a lot of people, not everybody can have an out of body experience, but everybody dreams. And this is an important thing. And this is a download that I think came from the other side because I heard Darius mention it. Uh, King Cassius, I watched his interview. I heard him mention it, and you just mentioned it. And bro, I've been thinking about how do I explain dreams to people because like all I do all day is think about how can I explain the shit that I see to people. So I've been thinking about how to explain it, and so I think it's cool that you brought that up because I believe that we were all receiving a message from the other side at the same time, around relatively to the same time. And I think dreams are important because dreams is still a gateway to the other side. Because when you're dreaming, you guys have to understand that your physical soul is out of your body. Essentially, it's like when your body's asleep, your soul's like, okay, the body's asleep. Now the soul doesn't sleep. So your soul's just creating things. And it's
Mhm,
like, it goes on like autopilot, right?
mhm,
So when you're on autopilot, what are you creating? A lot of times you're creating your subconscious thoughts. So this will then create your own dimensional spaces, your own thought bubbles. However, with that said, your soul's still out of your body, so dreams are still on the other side. This is why beings can contact you through the other side. Like when Genie said, messages can come to you on the other side. It's very true. So dreams, if you guys can dream, practice lucid dreaming. Practice lucid dreaming. There's tons of practices to do lucid dreaming. I have a meditation that I listen to that every time I listen to it, I lucid dream. So it's very important, guys.
yeah, and to touch on that too, yeah, because a dream is pretty much so. If you use the terms astral, right, it's an astral experience inside of your own mind. Out of body, you're just outside your own mind. So right now, right, with your mind, right, you can be open to amazing thoughts, divine thoughts, or bullshit thoughts, right? If you have a mind that is aligned with divinity, though, then when you dream, your dreams will be divine also. That's why you'll get certain messages. So it's like you're really just inside your own mind, creating things and also receiving things. And like you said, most people create from their subconscious mind, and most of the stuff inside your subconscious for most humans comes from the external world. So your dreams start to reflect the external world. You see friends, family, or things that you're scared of and stuff like that. But when you open up your mind to your divine nature, then when you dream, divinity flows through your dreams because you're just inside of your own mind. You're really walking inside your own mind, creating things. You can see it like this also. When you leave your body, you may use the astral body, right? When you dream, you're inside your astral body. That's why when you leave your body from dreams, oftentimes the dream will collapse and now you're back inside your body having to project out.
Yeah. 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 I've
You
experienced that, bro.
Me too.
I've been trying to leave my body out of dreams and like break out of there. But the only way that I've found the most success was to just fuck it. I'm out of my dream. I'm going back to my body, and then I be in there, and then I get out again. Yeah.
You could say also like it's like you're walking inside. You could say you're walking inside your soul. You're walking inside your dreams. You're walking inside of your soul, and then when you leave your body, you take your soul out the body. That's exactly what's happening. Usually, the only way that you break free from a dream and don't come back to your body is when you were never inside your body in the first place. You might have thought you were just dreaming inside of your mind, but sometimes you will be somewhere else, but you're inside of a dreamlike state. You went out of your body, but you're not fully aware of what's happening. So it's very dreamlike. But then you become aware and you're like, hold up, I'm actually out of body right now. Let me just go somewhere else. That's the only time when dreams don't collapse, because at that point you weren't even inside your soul in the first place. But a typical dream, you're inside of your soul.
So I wouldn't say inside your soul. I say inside of your own dimensional space. That's what I say, because I guess it's the same thing, but I would just say inside of your own thought forms, inside of your own dimensional space, because your soul. So, and how do I know this? Why am I saying this? Because when I'm in a dream and I'm lucid in a dream and I know I'm in a dream, when I command myself to be fully there and present, I bring all of my consciousness there, and then I'm very physical, and then I'm like a fucking Superman in a dream, and then I'm waving people, So I think that you're more so just in your dimensional spaces, but you are in your soul. I feel like you're just less conscious.
Now, yeah, here's why I say it like that, right? So back to the chart. When you look at this part right here, 3, 4, and 5, right? The soul is still at that 5 level, but this whole part is the domain of your soul. So like your mind is a part of your soul. Your imagination is a part of your soul. So let me use definitions.
I see where you're about to get, but go ahead, explain.
Okay. I get, for people that's watching, right? The way that I would define a soul is that it's your consciousness, it's your awareness. Now it can take on form. That's because your soul has a mind and an imagination, right? Your imagination is a part of your mind that turns information into images. That's why imagination isn't fake unless you fantasize. When you fantasize, you're creating inside of your own mind. What's the mind? Your mind's a group of information. Now, the thing that thinks, that's your intellect. Your intellect can only think because inside your mind you have information. When you think a thought, you're just recycling information. That's why most people cannot think a new thought, but you can't intuitively receive a new thought because you're receiving new information. But when you think a thought, you're recycling information inside of your mind and stuff like that. So inside your dreams, you're walking inside of your mind, which is a domain of your soul. That's why to keep it simple, I just said your soul, but it really is your mind and your imagination. Now, when you leave your body, right, some people may not always have like a form to them. That's because they only took their consciousness out. But if you take your imagination with you, right, you can make your imagination form into a body. So it could look however you want. It usually looks just like this, but you can make it look like whatever you want it to look like. You could look like a girl if you want to. You could become a bad bitch if you really wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So that's because your soul could use its imagination to form a body for itself. But your soul it's inherently formless as a consciousness, but it could take on a form through its ability to literally create its form for itself. That's how your soul kind of operates. And that's why I use the chart a lot, because when people see their soul having form, they have combined the 5, 4, and the 3, the consciousness, the mind, and the imagination. But when people kind of just like remote view and they just pop out
Mm.
and they only have a consciousness, it's just their conscious, it's just that part of their soul. Because your soul starts off
Bro, I
as
never knew how to explain that shit. That
Yeah,
chart,
I'm
that shit
yeah, I'm
works so
saying
great
like
because when
I'm
we're
gonna
out of
watch.
our butt. Go
I'm
ahead.
saying I'm gonna watch this and slow it down because you said a lot there, guys. Like we really have like he said a lot that on how he broke it down perfectly. I don't know. I'm weirded out right now because I know Andre. Go ahead, but I was like, I'm gonna go back
Yeah.
and watch this. And yeah,
Yeah. But so I've seen this I've been told the same thing that he was where that chart came from. But so like that's why like I can kind of understand. But essentially it never clicked for me what they were meaning. And it didn't click for me until I just heard you explain it just then. Because a lot of times when people are outside of their body and you're trying to command your consciousness to be aware by looking at your hands or something, what you're doing is you're combining your what's the 6, 5, and the 4,
either 5, 4, and the 3, the soul, the mind, and the
5, 4, and 3.
imagination.
Yeah, you're combining those three. So when we tell you guys to look at your hands to bring your full awareness, that's what we're doing. That's the reason behind it, because you have to combine those three. And as you know, the construct is completely based off of numbers. That's why you see 13 there. Same with the 13 months, 13 strands of DNA. Same with all that. So that's very beautiful. And I'm happy you brought that up because that just clicked for me. Somebody was telling me that. And I'm like, I was out of I was like, I wasn't there for that. I was there for something else. So like,
Yeah.
I couldn't understand it. I was like, what are you trying to tell me? But yeah, it clicked for me now. Yeah. Thank you,
so
man. Thank you
Jeannie,
for that.
when you're thank you for your time. I'm so happy to be a part of this conversation. Thank you, Andrea, for inviting me. It's just amazing. So when you say, hey, Acturian, please pull up. Like what is that? What because I know you're getting some stuff directly from other, very wise beings. Like what does that, look like? Like for
All right, boom. So it could be different, right? The most common thing when I'm like not trying to clear my mind out and stuff like that, I might literally do that. Then I have a dream and I'm in a school and the classroom has blue walls and I see a regular teacher with diagrams on a freaking like on like a chalkboard, and I get what it's saying, but I'm interpreting it as if I'm in school. Now, if I have more consciousness, right, I actually see the Arcturian being, and they're like, "Yo, this is this, this is that," and they're just explaining to me how reality is. Usually, when I talk to Arcturians, it's all about the structure of reality and the structure of ourselves. See, you have these outer planes, right? Those 12 planes and 13 being like what they call source, but you also have the inner planes, which make your different bodies. Your physical bodies for the physical plane, your emotional body, your sensory body, your energy body with the chakras, that's the etheric, that's the body for the etheric plane. The astral body, your imagination, that's the body for the astral plane, because the astral plane is based upon imagery. The astral plane is what actually gives images to things. That's why I said when you have like a visual experience, you could call that an astral experience because you're actually seeing imagery. There's times you go to sleep and your consciousness goes somewhere else and you have no experience. That's because you are not experiencing an astral layer of reality. Because even with the different planes, every plane has an astral layer. This is where subplanes come into play. Like you could go to the fifth plane, which like it's a that's the plane where the soul first exists. That there's an astral layer to that plane where you can actually see how things look. Now, to go back to the original question, right? Whenever I have beings pull up, I usually just enter into a dream and I'm kind of already inside an experience. Sometimes I'll be journeying about random bullshit, and then like I have a timer on my phone that says you got to go to school. Then I go to school and I learn a whole bunch of stuff. And when I go to the school, as I become more aware, I see how things actually are. Like I said, at first it's kind of like it's a blue room because Arcturians are blue. The teacher has a bald head because Arcturians have no hair. At least from what I've seen, I haven't seen Arcturian with hair before.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then as I become conscious, it's like I feel my frequency raise and the space kind of change in front of me. Now I'm inside like this fucking white crystal like classroom with the actual Arcturian there. He's teaching me about reality. There's also been times where like I've been inside my house. I want to talk to like these like godlike beings that can manipulate fire. And I was actually in the room I'm inside of right now. And although I didn't really see any beings, I kept getting the urge to light a fire and then manipulate the fire. Then as I was doing it, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm dreaming right now. And I'm like, wait a minute. I asked to talk to some like fire beings. Then I look outside and I literally see that there's a being out there who was talking to me through my mind inside the dream. And like, yes, it could look various amounts of ways depending on how aware I actually am.
So let's talk about this. So a lot of times when I come in contact with beings, now I haven't came in contact with beings too much through dreams. It's always through the out of body state. But for one thing with me, when I come in contact with a lot of information, it's always when, and I want to get your input and see if this is similar for you, similar experience for you. So when I break out of here, I break out of my body. And once I break out of this electromagnetic force field, which we can call the firmament, right? It's like I'm completely free now. And a lot of my memories come back. So a lot of times when I'm talking to these beings, it's like, and they'll be you can say they'll be teaching me something, but it's almost as if when they say it to me, it's like, oh yeah, I remember. And then you'll remember like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other connections to it. And it just like all comes back to you. Would you say it's like that for you?
Yeah, for sure. Especially out of my body, I make the connection so quickly. And sometimes it gets weird because you ever had a time where like you're being taught something, but then like let's say you're being taught something which you learned inside of a past life, right? Or something like that. Sometimes I'll get taken back to that life as I'm being taught. So like, there'll be some shit, and it's like I'll just fly back there. And I'm like, what? Like, I have to try to focus myself into one point in space. Like, for example, whenever Altorians teach me, I remember past lives being in Alturas already. It's like I'm really just remembering certain things, and they're saying, "Hey, remember this, remember that," and like sometimes I'll be taken back to that life where I actually had an experience learning about this thing for like the first time per se. Does that ever happen to you or not?
Yeah. So not so much like that, but you're saying, I think what you're saying is you're learning something new that your soul has never experienced before. So that may be it. That may be it. That you really just don't know that.
Well, that's happened too. But I meant like certain things I've been taught, I've already known it before, and I'll just be taken to when I first learned that thing before.
And you
like,
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
I have an example of this actually. When it comes to galactic history, right? Like with like what they call the Labyrinth Wars and stuff like that. There's a time where like I was in like this cathedral place.
You're accessing your fucking soul memory. So when you want to relearn something, you're going back to your soul's memory, and then you're re-experiencing when you first experienced it. Yeah, that has happened.
I'll be like in a cathedral, and there's like a fucking like a book or something, and I touched the book, and I learned like these Labyrinth Wars. But then after I stopped touching the book, I just go back to when I was actually in the Labyrinth Wars. And I'm like, holy shit, I remember this. Like, yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy, bro.
It's pretty dope.
This shit is so exciting, bro. Yo, so Genie, I heard you bring up one thing about time. When you said I believe a dragon or somebody was teaching you about time and how to control it.
Probably a dragon, the Zora dragon, probably.
Yeah. You want to talk about that experience? Do you remember it?
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, I've had a lot of time experiences actually. So, if y'all don't know, I'm actually very like time. That's like one of my most favorite things ever because just how intricate it is, right? But there was one time when I was taught about time from an Azor dragon, and it was telling me about the cyclical nature of it and how a lot of events like repeat themselves, right? So we always see it as like past, present, future, right? But those oftentimes will overlap. So for example, a future experience that you might have could be reflective of a cycle that you had in the past. but it's not really a past, present, future. You're just living out certain cycles again. So up here, it looks like the future. Down here, it looks like the past. I had to die because it showed me like it would like make diagrams with its flames. Like it would be a big ass Azora dragon, and then like it like be drawing shit with its flame, and it's like it showed me like a loop, and it's like normally you see it stretched out like past, present, future, like a line. Then it just bends the line on itself. Now it's a circle, and it says you see how this future event that looked like it was something new is just it's just being recycled from a past event, but it was never a past or a future. It's just the same things happening over and over again in different forms and shapes. Because even with these different planes, right? I keep bringing this up. It's kind of cut off. Okay, boom. Y'all could kind of see it. Like the stuff up here will happen down here. People like these all have 3 inside them. It's like they're all kind of the same plane in a way, just in different levels of density. So when it came to time, it was kind of like the same thing.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. Let's touch on. Oh, I don't want to mess up your train of thought. Keep going.
I was just gonna say, so yeah, long story short, one because I learned many time lessons, but one time lesson was that time is really cyclical and it's all happening at once. And what you perceive as a past, present, and future, it's just the beginning or the end of a cycle. But it's like even like when you were young growing up and stuff like that, right? There's certain actually I use myself. When I was young, I would leave my body and I would see certain things. I know what I was seeing. Now that I'm older, I'll have the same exact experience. And the experience that I was having itself was never in the past, present, or future. That was a certain event that exists on its own, which I accessed either as a kid or as an older person. But the event itself, like before, I would say I had this experience in the past, and now I had experience later on in the future. But really, it's actually the same exact experience. Like when I was a kid seeing it, it was the same as me seeing it right now.
So imagine this is the experience, and this is you living your life, right? The experience can come here. The experience can come here. The experience can come here. Yeah.
Literally. And it was always the same thing. And I only understand it now because you could say I have more information about certain things and stuff like that. But it was still the same thing. I saw the same exact thing and I did the same exact things. And while I was going through it, it felt new. Like as a kid, it felt a certain kind of way. Let's say like when I was a kid, it was very foggy. So it's hard for me to actually put it in like words because I only remember certain stuff as a kid because now when I'm out of body, I'll remember being like 3 years old doing something. But like when I was actually 3, it was very blurry. So it's kind of weird. But my point is, right, the same stuff I did when I was 3 in that experience, I do the same thing now when I have the experience. It's the same exact thing. It's just that when I come out of it, I know more about what it actually was now because I have more information now to actually put terms on certain things. So that was one thing about the cyclical nature of time. Certain events repeat themselves all the time, even with your past lives. There's certain parallel lives really that are inside your soul's template are playing themselves out right now inside your life. Like let's say in the past life you were in Egypt learning something, right? You might be learning that same exact thing right now. It's happening again right now. In other words, these are 2 different events. It's the same exact thing. Same with like, for example, when I remembered past lives in Taurus, it was the same exact me. It was the same exact thing as me learning that thing right now. So when I learned about the place on tour, yeah, go ahead. You get it. Yeah, go ahead.
Same thing, bro. What he's trying to say is, all right. So he's getting into detail about this stuff, but essentially, and I love it. And essentially, what he's saying is, you can re-experience the same thing in different lifetimes. Like when I had experienced many lifetimes of mine, when I tell y'all I was going through the same shit that I'm going through in this life, I was. The same shit.
So the purpose of this looping is that, if I understand you correctly, is that though you're going through a similar experience, what you know about it is different. It's different, and it hits you different. So you might experience it on that past as a 3-year-old, but you didn't have the knowledge to process it in the way you're processing it today.
Exactly. And it's like I said, it's still the same exact experience. I just know more about it now, but it's the same exact thing. So, like, even when you live out certain things from past lives, right? Inside your past life, that could have been like your first time going through it, you could say. But at some point, you learn how to let's say it was a certain problem. In a past life, you learn how to overcome it. Okay, aside this life, you have that same exact problem, and it seems like it's the first time this problem ever happened to you. Like, why is this shit happening inside my life right now? But then you find a solution for what seems like the first time. But really, it's the same exact event from your past life and with this life right now. Let's say the problem is like just being broke, right? You feel like you're broke. Let's say you had a lot of money at one point, then you went broke. Okay, cool. That could have happened inside this life and in like 5 other past lives. And every single time it felt like a new experience, but it was actually the same exact thing in a different form.
And what's the purpose of that?
Honestly, I never really asked that. I guess, like, if I'm gonna be so real, I think part of it is like it brings you a certain level of remembrance. Like when I was in, due to the fact that I learned about the planes back when I was actually in Alturas, when I learned about it now, it's like it makes it easier to understand since I already been through it in the quote unquote past. But even while I was in Alturas learning it, it felt like I still already knew it, even though it also felt like the first time. But I think it's about like a remembrance. Like, it kind of makes you aware of certain parts of your soul and of your spirit more. You kind of become more aware of like, oh yeah, I had this past life where I did that. And there's also that past life where I did that. You kind of merge them all into this lifetime right now. And you get the remembrance and the lessons from every single past life and bring it into your experience right now. If that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
so that's good. From my perspective, it's like from my personal experience, when I re-experience the same thing, so when I experience something in a past life, we can say, and then I experience the same thing here, it's almost as if I handle that problem differently and better because I somewhere deep in my subconscious I remember having this issue in a past life. So when it presents to me again, I want to tackle it. Why? It's because my soul wants to know what it's like to overcome this in a physical form. That's basic. That's how I see it.
And this actually I just got like a instant like ding in my head. They talk about people talk about clearing out karma, right? Now I mentioned before, karma is just your past thoughts, emotions, and actions, right? So when you went through something in a past life, right? We'll just say past for now, although it's really parallel. We'll just say past. When you went through that thing, right? You could have dealt with it and overcame it, but a part of your soul might still be like, you know what? There could have been other ways to solve that. Or I could have solved that thing way quicker, And it kind of feels like, you know what? I gotta run that shit back. It's like when you play a video game. It's like when you play a video game and you already beat the game, but you're like, yo, that shit took me mad long. I want to play this shit again. And now I know all the Easter eggs. I know what the fuck to look for. So now I'm gonna redo the same exact missions. And so let's say when you first played the game, let's say it's like a 5-star ranking. You got 3 stars the first time when you played that game, right? For every single level. It's like, nah, fuck that. I want all 5 stars for the level and stuff like that. I'm gonna redo that shit again. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, and perfect, Genie. And so I want you guys to imagine, everybody here watching. Now imagine how he said, "Fuck it, I want to play that game again." So imagine when you beat the game, you know everything, right? And you know all the levels, you know how to play the game, that's you being in your soul, right? But now this is why the game of life here on earth is the hardest game, because you know all of that when you're in your soul, and then you're like, fuck it, let me go run that shit back. And then you come in and then you step through forgetfulness again, and then you're like, oh fuck, here I am again. And you don't remember a damn thing.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I got another nudge for that too, because sometimes when you beat certain games, you'll have like all the abilities and stuff like that. You'll have all the money and stuff like that. And with that, you could do the same exact mission, but from the perspective of like your character is fully buffed up. Let's say you have like 100 fighting, 100 speed, and you do the same exact mission. That's cool and all. That's like being from your soul. But going into the body is like, fuck, I'm gonna erase this character and I'm gonna do it on hard mode now. It's like fuck all the stats that I had before, bro. Let's get rid of that and let's do it on the hardest difficulty. Because at some point playing this game, a part of me still remembers how to beat it. It's just on a harder difficulty, but I could still beat this shit. And when you finally do that, it gives you a whole new level of experience where it's like, yo, although I beat this game before and I had all my stats maxed out, I actually was able to do it from a harder difficulty with no stats whatsoever. It's like I'm kind of you feel like I'm that guy now. You know what I'm saying? It's like I have that experience now, and it kind of in the physical world we value money, but your soul values experience. So the experience itself is enough for your soul to feel satisfied.
And this is why I say, guys, if you're experiencing something hard in your life, right? When you're in the human vessel, you're looking at things through a microscopic lens. You're seeing it as this is all there is. This is your whole life, right? But as soon as you leave your body and you step back to your eternal soul and you realize that you are eternal, it's like, oh, okay, I can experience this for these 80 years. It's all good. You know what I mean? Because guess what? After that, you're going to go on and beyond, and you'll add so much more for your next experience. Because I promise you guys, everybody here listening, when you leave this life and you step back into your soul, everything is always okay. And when you look back, this whole life will just be like a blink of an eye. So if you are going through a tough time in your life, I truly commend you, because chances are you are an advanced soul, or if you weren't before, when you get out of here, you will be an advanced soul, because guess what? Everybody else on the other side is just sitting there living in their divinity, and they don't know what it's like to have limitations. But guess what? You do. So now if you come in here and you have an even greater limitation, when you leave here, you're going to come back and you're going to know so much more and be of so much value, have so much more wisdom inside of you. Because like Genie just said, the currency on the other side is experience.
So how long, as far as y'all both know, how long is this? Is it eternal? Is Earth and this experiment eternal, or are we moving into a greater challenge?
It's gonna end.
Yeah. So I always say, because this whole universe and construct is built off of numbers, right? Like Genie just had that diagram. Everything in here is built off numbers. Numbers what? Numbers end. If you build a computer simulation built off of numbers, guess what? Eventually that thing is going to run up. It's going to all the memory. All right. So you can think of it like this. If say this is a computer, right? Say this construct, just for metaphor purposes, say this is a computer. And eventually you have enough things going on in that computer where the memory holds up and it's enough, right? That's equivalent to saying that everything here has been experienced, right? Because this whole thing was created to create limitations so souls can come here to experience what it's like to not be a god. So eventually, essentially everything here has been experienced, right? How many more limitations do you know? Let me ask you, Bam, how many more times do you need to come here to understand what it's like to be broke? To understand what it's like to have a heartbreak or get cheated on. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need that many lifetimes to learn these lessons.
Yeah. And that's perfect too, because
it's gonna end. Yeah.
Also, this exists inside of time, and time implies an end, right? There's beginning, middle, end. Time is gonna end at some point. Now your soul will have the experience for a lifetime. And people, so even though like the construct of Earth will end, people could essentially revisit the records through other people's perspective. So let's say that there's something that you never experienced before, right? Someone else already has. So when this construct ends and you're like, you know what, bro? I've never. Now, I was gonna say something that was actually crazy. Let me not do that. Let's just say, let me do something smaller. Let's say like you've never been a girl before. Okay, that's simple. You're like, I've never been a girl before, but Earth kind of ended. You know what? I had a girlfriend when I was alive. Let me just be her. Let me experience life from her perspective. So, because at the end of the day, at the very top, we're all connected anyway. So what I experience, you experienced, he experienced, she experienced. It all goes back to the very type. You can call it source,
Yeah.
God, whatever. But it all combines. And even when it comes to your own individuality, right? I mentioned at the beginning of this live stream that we have like your spirit can exist inside of its own realm. And then that realm will have different dimensional spaces from different lifetimes that you had. So once you experience something, it's like you put a trophy inside your realm and you said, yeah, I have that. You could live that out as many times as you want to. Like the Egyptians said inside one of their myths, when you die, you become a star. They say you become a star. So it's like your soul becomes a star inside of your own galaxy. But inside of that star, you relive the life that you had when you were alive on Earth. And then on a greater level, we all have that experience because galaxies also exist inside galactic clusters, and galactic clusters exist inside the universe. So at the very top, it's like you can say that we're all the universe. That's very loose terminology. It's not the most accurate thing, but you can say that we're all the universe, and our spirits are different galaxies. And every single star inside our galaxy is a different experience that we had before. But at the end of the day, all those galaxies are a part of the same exact universe. So once this galaxy did that and that galaxy did this, the whole universe did that. And at some point, you did everything which was possible. You experienced all the limitation. You did it all. So at that point, there's no need to have the construct that needs to keep on going because it's done now.
Yeah, and especially here on Earth. So what he's saying is everything is recorded, right? And the same way that you can leave your body and access your soul records, the same way I'm leaving my body, accessing my past lives, I can leave my body and access your past life too, and see what you experience and see like that and that. Now, and another reason why this particular game needs to end is because we'll say right? This has been going on way too far. People are in way too forgetfulness. This experiment has gone way too far. Yes, the purpose of this was to come in, forget that you're a god, and to experience life in forgetfulness with limitations, with the limitations of the physical body. However, people took way too much advantage of that. And the souls here are way too lost, way too in forgetfulness, way too in this control structure. Like, you know, if this wasn't the case, a conversation like this would have millions of viewers or something like that instead of 157. You know, it's gone way too low, right? So now the makers of this particular construct are like, we got to end this. You know, this is it. And now all the beings are coming together. That's when you get, you know, the Galactic Federation. That's when you get, you know, people like us coming here, incarnating, trying to end this thing. That's when you know, get all of that. Yeah.
How do we end it?
How do we end it? Conversations like this. Yeah, shit. I could end this shit for me tonight. I could leave my body and not come back tonight. Well, I come back for y'all, you know. So, but you know, I'd rather watch it from the inside than the outside for sure.
Oh, I have a good hold up, because back to time, right? Because this is gonna loop into that question about how we end it, right? I learned that so your dimensional spaces are like time events also. You can make your own time events through your consciousness, right? Many people right now are observing limitation, and that's all that they know. So they're still feeding that experience. Once they wake up, they stop looking at it and they stop feeding the experience. People always say where attention goes, energy flows. So as people pay attention to limitation, they experience it. Once you wake them up and take their attention elsewhere, the experience begins to die out naturally anyway. And that's why is you mentioned this before in your videos, Andre, and Darius has also, that pretty much there's certain time events that have to happen. You know, people are gonna awaken at some point. You can't stop that. Sometimes it may be a bit delayed, maybe, but it's gonna happen. And once it happens, once everybody wakes up, it ends. Because even inside your dream, once you wake up, the dream ends. It's the same with this life right here. When everybody wakes up,
yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that metaphor. It's just like a dream. When you wake up, what happens? The dream ends. When you wake up here, it ends. So once everybody wakes up. And now why it's so important to wake people up from within it, right? Because I get this question a lot too. Why can't it just end? All right. And now, from my understanding, and I don't know if you have any insights on this as well, Genie or Bam, but from my understanding, the reason why it can't just end now when people are still asleep is the same reason why the comparison that we said earlier, when people want to come and experience a slave, and then when they leave here, they're a slave forever and ever. Every soul is its own ultimate authority, right? So if this just ended, you know how many lost souls there would be?
Yeah.
Because you're creating your own reality all the time, right? So if you're lost and you're thinking like, oh, you're just this human body, you don't know about the other side, like that shit would shock you. And since you're the creator of your authority, your own ultimate authority, if you don't know within you, you're going to be creating that. So especially on the other side, it's even more crazy. I like this movie, What Dreams May Come, with Robin Williams. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but there was a scene in this movie where he was trying to save his wife who died, and he passed away too. And he met her, and they were like, oh, she's in her own hell because she killed herself. And he was like, well, I'm just going to go wake her up. He was like, it's not that easy, because she has to wake up. She has to be the one to remember, right? So you really have to wake up from within here. I hope that kind of makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add to that too, because the reason why it can't just end. Even though some people say I want this to be over, a part of them technically doesn't. Like if you're a slave, right? You might be tired of you may think you're tired of being a slave, but part of you still thinks that you actually are a slave. So it's like until you say I'm not a slave no more, they're gonna keep on being that slave. And like you just said, right? If this construct ends and you're out the construct, but you still think that you're a slave, you'll keep on being a slave even outside the construct. Until that person says, I'm no longer a slave, they're still gonna be a slave. So when you go through certain things inside of your life, right, a part of you believes that you should be going through that. It sounds kind of messed up, but it really is just, if you guys say
it's all you.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Like even inside your dreams, right? You think you don't want the demon to chase you, but you're making the dream. So that's why the demon's chasing you, because you're doing it to yourself. Until you say I'm done with this shit, it's not gonna end. Now the beautiful thing about the concept is the fact that as time goes on, people will get more and more fed up, and it's like at some point it's gonna be undeniable that you are a divine being, because there's going to be so much put in your face that says it's time to wake up. It's also like inside your dreams, right? I know for me sometimes, especially when I try to lucid dream, certain things in my dream happen to try to make me more aware that I'm dreaming. So it's like at first the dream is just random. I don't know I'm dreaming, but then it's like I'll see a certain poster that says wake up. Then I see 333 inside of my dream, something like that, right? There's going to be more signs and more indicators that people see that say, hey, you're sleeping, it's time to wake up. So that's why it's going to end no matter what, because there's going to be many things that force people to wake up.
So if you guys want this to end, like and share this video and spread awareness, because like that 333 in Genie's dream, this is a 333. Conversations like these, this is why we do this, guys. This is why I continue to leave my body and come back, is to spread awareness to you guys and help wake up humanity, essentially. So, like, share this video, come back, comment, let's spread this out and start leaving your body and spreading the truth yourself, right? All of those things. That's how we can end this, for sure.
Perfect.
And Genie, I want to ask you something. So you said when you go back to Arcturus, what do you, to you, what is that?
All right, so when I actually go there, right, I'm still trying to understand this one thing, because I noticed that stars are made outside the construct. So it seems like there's an Arcturus that's inside and outside. I'm still trying to get how that works, but so far, when I go there, right, I may try to just make a portal. It's like I just make a portal, just walk through the portal.
Bro, you put me on to that too. I was watching. I was telling people how I made a portal in my room. So they asked me, how did I do this? I did this because I heard Genie mention it. So then all of a sudden I knew it was a possibility. So then once I know it's a possibility, you just say it and it's so. You just kind of like formulate your energy and set your intention. And then you're like, okay, this is going to be a portal and I want it to link to here. But you have to know where that place is and link it so you can link that frequency.
It's like you clearly feel it. You clearly feel the energy of the place and be like, okay, I'm inside this place, but I feel this other frequency. Take me over there. So that's one way with portals. With portals, I'll get there. And then number two is sometimes I could just literally like be in the astral or just be out of body and stuff like that. And essentially, I just want to go there. So I kind of like phase out and I kind of just end up there. Because trying to fly there is just too much effort. And I actually noticed that when I try to fly to like when I try to fly into space, I'll either start blacking out or I just get sent somewhere else that's already here. So I'm just like, what the fuck?
So what's your let me help you. Yeah. So what's going on is, so Arcturus, I asked you that, it's in the galactic realm. All right. Now the galactic realm it's like Earth, right? It's a physical place, just like here. However, these ETs are so advanced compared to us. They can literally manipulate the reality around them, right? So you may be in one place and it may look like a completely different planet or a different area, but really all it is they just manipulated that specific area. And when you said that you were going up to space and then you end up right back here, I think what's going on is you got too close to a star, which we know are portals, because when you go through a star, bro, it's going to take you right back here to a specific time and place here. So that's what I experience personally. When I go there, it's like sometimes there'll be like guardians in front of the star. Have you ever experienced that? Where there's like guardians?
I was trying to go to a certain planet and there was these guardians. It was, what the fuck is it called? I forgot the name. Oh my god! But it's near an asteroid called Ceres. At least that's how they talk about it. And I tried to, there was guardians there. They didn't want me to go there, but I eventually got there. But yeah, I've experienced something to that.
Yeah. So sometimes there's that, but when there's not, I don't know the difference yet. Like I'm trying to figure this out. But sometimes it's like as soon as I get close to it, it's like I just get sucked in, or I'm just right back here. And it's like because that energy is just so strong, bro. When you get close, you just come back. But yeah, it's very hard to get there that way.
Yeah,
I just set my intention and I just mirrors are my favorite way, bro.
Yes, bro. Just once, yo, this was like 2-3 weeks ago, right? Since I knew that mirrors could be used as portals, I would actually, without even going through it, sometimes I just want to like put my hand through it to just feel the energy of a place. I really started playing with that. With like, I'd put my hand through a mirror and I would link it to a certain place. And I did this for the purpose of getting a better understanding of that frequency. Because sometimes I wouldn't actually want to go. Granted, I actually have went through a mirror that actually went somewhere else. But I was playing with this idea that if I make a portal to a certain place with a mirror, if I put my hand through the mirror, I can feel the frequency of that place. And that actually helps to get me used to what certain places actually feel like. So that way I can actually know the frequency without having to actually be there. So like if I'm in my body, if I feel a certain way while inside my body, I know where it's coming from because I literally felt what that felt like with the hands of my soul. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Sure. Yeah. I think we're going to open up for a live Q&A here soon. So you guys have a chance to ask Genie your questions. Genie, man, I had so many questions and so many ways to take this. I'm definitely going to have you back, man. We're going to have to go into detail about a lot more, man, because you definitely have a lot of knowledge and insight as well. I would like to say that you've experienced or have learned in having out of bodies?
Something that came to my mind when talking about the Arcturian stuff. This is actually because there's something that's really trippy when it comes to the different realms inside this plane and things outside of the construct. Because like with how Arcturus is inside the galactic realm, it's like they have consciousnesses that can exist outside of it. And I think that every single being that's inside the construct, like the same, like right now, we're humans and we're in the construct, but we also exist outside the construct. I think that's the same for a lot of other beings, whether it's inside of the galactic realms or the higher realms, but besides that, because it's like those are all forms, those are all characters which certain souls can go inside of and say, like, I want to be this, I want to be this person. And I'm saying that because this is why I was confused. I'm like, I think there's an Taurus inside the construct, and there's something like that outside. We wouldn't call it like the star Taurus anymore. It's like its own separate thing where those
kingdom, its own kingdom, its own kingdom, its own kingdom.
Literally. In another
its own kingdom. Yeah.
Saying that too, because we're using also as domains, which domains are kingdoms also. And it's like the Arcturian consciousnesses themselves, they actually helped with like building certain space-time constructs. So like, you know how we go like on the other side, then you see our construct, then you see other constructs and stuff like that. They could literally help to make the timelines for certain space-time constructs. And I
the Arcturians are so smart. I didn't mean to cut you up, but they are so fucking smart, guys. Like, so Genie, you're gonna get into this, but just to give you guys some context, the Arcturians are one of the smartest ET races that I have ever came in contact with. These guys are so intelligent. They have, you know how we're explaining the universe and stuff? Well, guess what? These guys have equations. They can break it down scientifically, mathematically, and make shit happen. Like their knowledge of this is so advanced. So, all right, go ahead.
Real quick, in the comments, there's I don't know if we have to like end it and come back, but everybody's saying that Genie's very glitchy. They can't hear him and stuff. For myself, I have to head out. I love y'all all. Thank you so much. I'm leaving, but I'm gonna keep the stream going. Thank you so much.
All right, Bam. Well, yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, Bam, for coming, guys. And guys, I just asked Bam yesterday, you know, if he was available for the live, and he said he could. So, you know, thank you very much, Bam, for coming. It was great to have you here, my brother, my soul brother. Man, we'll have to get together. Yeah, I don't know, man. We might have to lunch.
Yeah, definitely
might have to bring that back.
Shifting that way. So let's just follow it. You know, we're trying to do the same thing. Is, you know, to wake others up. We're all doing the same thing. So, bro, Ginny, thank you, man. Like, I sometimes speak to people and they're like, "How do you have an answer to everything?" I'm like, I don't know, but that's the way I'm feeling right now. When I speak to you, it's like you tap into that max expression of your soul, and it's so there's no questions but answers.
I appreciate you too, man. It was great meeting you for the first time. I definitely look forward to more conversations for sure, man. Just this whole panel that we have right now, it's, the way we bounce off each other, it's so perfect. It goes together so well. So it was great having your energy here, man. Have a good rest of your day, afternoon, or night. I don't know your time zone, so
I'm in Eastern.
Okay.
I'm in.
So the rest of your day then, Mike, or afternoon. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. And in the comments, there's a lot of people that feel, if you feel like you're an outsider, that's good, and you can hit me up on you can leave a comment in my channel, and I'll respond. And and I experience that with a lot of people that come to me. They're like, hey, and we can do some work where you start reframing your mind to adding your energy to the rest of us, because like we've been speaking in this whole conversation, you're creating that for yourself. So start speaking differently about your experience on Earth. Speak about how you attract the people that will enlighten you and bring you more clarity and that companionship, because we're not here to do it all alone either. Just because we express all this, we're here together, and that's why we do this. So don't feel alone. You can hit me up. I'm sure you can hit Andrew up, and we'll help you out.
Yeah, guys, we're here all the time. That's why we're doing these things. I have YouTube, Telegram, my website running. Building a safe community for all you guys. So for sure, hit us up, guys.
Yeah, definitely. I got a Discord too if you want to join that also. It's pretty lit. Me and my boy Cash, and there's a lot of people inside there that are really good inside there. So feel free to join that too.
Man.
Thank you, guys.
And I love you, man. Bam. Wait, if nobody told you today that they love you, I love you.
I love y'all, bro.
All right, man. All right. Yeah,
it's
man.
like I was saying
So
with the
where were we?
the Altorian stuff. So I was gonna say two things. Number one, with the Altorian math, yeah, bro. I've seen equations from them, bro, and I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? Because like they'll use symbols, they'll use shapes inside there. Like I'm seeing a number, a symbol. I'm seeing, like we have like a plus and a minus. They have different ways of like adding what I don't know what to call it because I don't know what it is. I don't. But instead of them adding, they're doing whatever the heck that is. It's ridiculous, bro. They show me when it comes to time equations how they really map out what timeline is gonna probably manifest most likely. It's been crazy. But the other part about the Altorian stuff, it seems like a lot of these beings within inside the construct also exist out of it inside like their own little kingdom, like you were saying. Because something I learned about also is that galaxies are a physical manifestation of certain realms that exist outside the construct. So, like our Milky Way, for example, it's like
I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think. Yeah.
So it's like you have lights that are on the other side, which can get added into this great construct. That's why this construct is like one of the most important ones because it can link together so many different things from outside the construct. Like our galaxy itself is so diverse in general with a lot of different beings that you can experience inside the high.
I think what's going on here is when you say galaxies from outside of the construct, I think it has to do with the frequency line that we come in through, right? Because on the other side, outside of this construct, there's still frequency band waves where people resonate with, right? Like certain things people resonate with, certain souls stick together, things like that. And when we come in through here, we all kind of come in through like the same line. And I think that's like a linkage to that kingdom outside of here. That's
that's like I said, because like you said, it's like you have what we call our Milky Way galaxy, right? But on the other side, it's a certain frequency. They call it one word is a realm, plus kingdom also means realm too. So it's like it's literally a certain grand frequency, which even inside that Milky Way, there's different dimensional spaces inside that one kingdom. So it's like, for example, Taurus is one dimensional space that can be outside the construct but gets added into this one because the frequency of it exists outside of here, but then can manifest in here physically as what they call a galaxy and stuff like that. Which is why sometimes I get confused about where I'm actually at. Because like I said, like sometimes
so it helps. That's why, I know what you mean. That's why for me, it really helps because shit gets so confusing, bro, when you're out there traveling and where you are. And I always try to have a frame of reference. That's why when I'm traveling, I always think of it as, okay, I'm in a construct, and I know this because I'm sure you have too. You've been outside of here, you've seen it, I'm sure. So that's a fact. Every guy.
That's a fact. You can't. We're not debating that.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And in this construct, everything exists inside of here, and it literally looks like a snow globe. So when I'm traveling, I think when I'm traveling, I always keep that frame of reference, right? And when I'm outside of the construct, I know I'm outside of it. So whenever I'm traveling and I know I'm inside of here, I'm like, okay, if I'm at a galaxy, I see it as okay, I call it a kingdom within a realm, right? So we have a construct with 12 realms in here. Now, within each realm, there are kingdoms, right? Like certain timelines. So that Taurus kingdom would be inside one of the realms, but it would be its own little pocket, right? Like its own little pocket. It can certainly come from outside, but that's how I see it. Now, I don't have any definitive proof. Like no being has told me this. This is just
but I think that's true though, because like, okay, boom. So the word that you use for realms seems like how I'll talk about subplanes within inside of this construct. But then also I got taught about pocket realms, which were separate from the dimensional spaces. A pocket realm is like a so when you go to, for example, the galactic realm, right? That's like the main realm of that subplane of this physical plane. Now I'm saying it like that because within inside of these different subplanes, they bring in energy from the other higher planes above it. So like the second realm, right, or the second subplane of the physical plane is into the etheric plane. That's why these beings have like a more etheric like bodies and stuff like that. Like if they were to become physical, their bodies are omniversal construct. That's what I'm saying. It's not the higher omniversal construct. The plane above this one is the etheric plane. But even that etheric plane has a physical level to it. It has an astral level to it, and all these different things. But there's a certain main part that you experience when you're inside of these subplanes. So you can experience the galactics with inside the second one. With the third one, it's very linked to that Egyptian time period. But even with inside of realm 3, which this is just me talking now, I haven't experienced this, but you might be able to go other places beyond Egypt. You know what I'm trying to say? But it seems like it's centered around that Egyptian period. But once again, I haven't had. Hey, go ahead.
From my understanding, now when we say Egyptian, I'm talking about a global civilization here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This was all over, and everything was open at this time. There was no ice wall. This whole realm was open. That's why there's pyramids in Antarctica. That's why there's pyramids in the Grand Canyon. That's why there's pyramids in South America. That's why there are pyramids in China. That's why, there's pyramids all over the world. And that's why this was a global civilization, guys. And also, when I said there was no ice wall, what does that mean? There was no ice. Everything was lush. It was a completely different environment, completely different. And when you go there, you see it. It looks like, I was so confused at first when I went there because I'm like, it was so watery and lush. And I'm like, what the hell am I?
Right? It's like, why is there a
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, yo, what is going on here? And then I was actually in Egypt like 2-3 months ago. I was there, and I'm in the desert. And I'm looking, and there's actually seashells there. So I'm like, all right, this confirms what I was seeing out of my body. This was definitely, once lush. So it was a completely different thing. And the desert is because of the fucking Great War. The Great War. Have you seen anything about that?
I just want to ask you about that because there was a period of time where I would tap into information with a war that was happening on Earth that led to mass destruction. But I never actually got deeper into what that really was. But like, for example, go ahead. No, go ahead. You get it. You get the point.
Yeah. So what it was from what I have seen was there was 2 families that reached a certain point, and the one, I don't have exact clarity on this, so I don't want to say it yet, but I'm working on that too. It's tough. It's, guys, when you're leaving your body and you go to see these places and these things, there's so much information that comes to you. And, I try to be careful about what I say until I have exact clarity on it, because I don't want to mislead people and say something based off of what I think. And then, then come out 2 months later and say something else, So, but from what I've seen, there was something about families. So I will say that there was some, and when I say families, I mean like royalty, like kingdoms, basically, or like dynasties, you could say. And there was a mix between that, but also in the larger scheme of things, there was a huge war, and essentially what it was between control and between freedom, right? And you can see who won, the people in control, right? And this is when they ended up blocking everything off, reset everything, and this is where we are now. I do know that. But there was like 2 separate wars. Yeah.
All right, because this list I got a little bit ago that dealt with what they call Atlantis and Lemuria, right? But at this period of time, it's like you had Atlantis, but that was really part of Egypt. It wasn't really different. You know what I'm saying? It's like it was the same exact thing, but they called them. You had one side that was more Atlantean, one side that was more Lemurian, and then those two fought. Now the Atlantean side was more like about control. They had crazy technology too. In fact, their technology actually, because like it seemed like okay, let me put it like this: Atlantis as its own continent, right? That continent was technically a part of Egypt, because even when you go to Egypt, that was what Atlantis really is.
It
You
was
try to,
during that time period.
yeah, it's like the
It was
same period,
yeah, yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
that continent is linked to where we see Egypt as nowadays. But like you said, Egypt was global; it was all over. But once again, you have that continent that they call Atlantis, and then you have a continent that was more like Lemurian based. And I know that at one point those two fought, which led to another reset, which I think that's when the Ice Might got put up and stuff like that.
I think we're talking about the same thing. Like when I
Mhm.
said two
Yeah, the
families,
two families.
I think we're talking about the same thing. Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it brought to my mind. I think that's exactly what that is. So I think we're onto something with that for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know exactly what was going on because like you can't find nothing on Earth. So like when you're seeing these things, like you have no context or background to it, you know, like you're just seeing them and it's kind of hard to piece it together. And then that's when you get back here and you start doing tons and tons and tons of research trying to figure this shit out. You know what I mean? Yo, so I don't know how much time you got. How much time you got, Jeannie?
I have a lot of time, bro. It's only 2 p.m. over here, and my day is pretty
All
free,
right.
so I have a lot of
All
time.
right. So before we get into this Q&A, let's talk about something that I've been figuring out. Um, the ETs, the races, right?
Hmm.
Now, there are a lot of races, and many of these guys do look human, right? And a lot
Yes.
of these beings on the other side, they they are human. And I have seen the majority of the races that I have seen, or not the majority, but a lot of them are black.
Hmm.
They're that is the case. And then the and there's something about the elf realm too. Have you ever experienced the elf realm?
Yeah, elves have taught me a lot of things. Actually, I used to interact with them a lot. Yeah,
Now I'm trying to figure out where that fits in
I think it's
because
the second
I
one, bro. I think it's the second one.
think it's the second one.
Here's the reason why. Because another term I got for the second realm is the elemental kingdom, where beings their bodies are purely etheric and elemental, just like how an elf has an elemental body and stuff like that. How fairies do,
Mm,
and how aliens tend to be more etheric, especially like the black skin ones. They're literally made out of ether, and when you look at space, it's black. So it might be that same exact realm. I'm not sure once again because I haven't got that confirmed. But one
yeah,
being
but
told
that's
me,
what you're thinking. Yeah,
yeah,
just to
yeah,
talk. Yeah,
yeah, because one being
yeah.
told they're like right. Because when I tried to go to the Galactic Kingdom, right, I went to realm two, but they're like you're in the Elemental Kingdom. I'm like, where the fuck the aliens at? They're like, this is the Elemental Kingdom, and I'm like, but what does that mean? They said every being here, their bodies are made of pure elements. Like matter is a combination. Matter is like dense elements all put together. You could say, right? Like nitrogen is supposed to be fire, oxygen is supposed to be like air, hydrogen is supposed to be water, so on and so forth, right? But over there, it's like pure. It's like you have a pure fire body, or a pure water body, or a pure ether body. Some are combinations also of each other. And when I was there, I was seeing a lot of like fey-like beings, but they could easily cross over to the physical realm as well. Like it's like they could seamlessly do it. Why? I don't really have any idea. But that's what happened when I
Mm.
was there one night. I tried to go there. My intent was on realm two. And the beings never said that I was in realm two. They just said the elemental kingdom. So I was just like, okay,
All
maybe.
right, Elemental Kingdom. Yeah. So, but if you had to place it in a place, that'd be where it is. Yeah, because it's
Yeah,
certainly not here.
yeah, it's definitely not here.
You know what I mean? It's certainly not here. Yeah. So all right, man. So Jeannie, and somebody just said bring Corey into the mix. So guys, me and Corey are going live next Saturday. We'll be live next Saturday, me and Corey. Jeannie, I don't know if you're available, but if you want to hop on it, you can hop on it with us. I
I'll
don't know
hop
if you
on for
know my
sure.
man Corey.
Yeah, I've seen him
Yeah,
before.
we'll
I've
do it.
seen I saw his experience with Lyra Diggs. He told him to just go away. And then they did. He was trying to extend it. I'm like, yo, why he do that, man? They cool.
Yeah,
Like,
talk to him. Yeah. But man, when you first get out, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah. If you want to hop on, we're doing it at the same time next week. So,
I bet. Yeah. Just send me the link and I'll be there for sure.
All right. Yeah. So guys, at this time, man, let's open up the chat to a live Q&A. So keep all comments to questions only, and let's get it going. We'll answer some questions.
I do want to say one thing that came to my mind. There has been a time where I went to a planet that was full of elves, actually. So that's why I think it's also galactic, also, because they have like, what's the place? There's one in Outer Baron, one in Cassiopeia. When I tried to go to those places, I ended up in spaces with elven beings. So that's one thing I want to add also.
Yeah, I was asking that because my partner, I've never seen any elves, but my partner has, and she went there, and I was trying to figure out where it was, but yeah, I couldn't figure it out. All right, so mine speak as Genie. Is the Earth really flat since we're on a plane?
I would say yes and no. You could if you go outside of this construct, you will see that this is a plane and it looks pretty flat, but there's like a dome you could say over it. But also I've had experience of literally probably like last month when I was leaving my body, right? I was in sleep paralysis, but my room changed into space. And I started literally flying through space, and I was seeing planets, stars. I actually went through a portal that showed me like this universe, but like when it becomes twisted and like evil and wicked, it's like you have there's these beings that made their own Big Bang, but inside of their own Big Bang, this is how it was described to me. I don't even understand this shit, but they made their own Big Bang and they made their own universe that's like a twisted version of this one. But I'm saying that because while I've actually have been in space and I've seen planets look round, but at the same as that time I've been outside of here, and when I'm outside, I don't even see planets. I just see stars in a flat plane and shit like that. So I'm like, I'll say yes and no.
So what it is, and this is, I've been trying to deal with this too, and what I think it is it's to a certain extent about what you expect to see, right? Because if you're assuming that you're flying through space and you're expecting to see those things, you certainly can. Mm-hmm. However, based off everything that I've seen and all the maps and beings that I've told, it for sure is a flat plane of existence. Mm-hmm. With the firmament above it, and that's why astrology is so big. That's why everything is. But I'm trying to figure that out too, because I remember when I first got into this, I'm like, all right, so when you're not in the physical body, it must appear flat, but when you're in this physical reality, maybe it's round. Like I used to think about all that,
but I learned about this is the holographic universe, but not how it's talked about online. I haven't watched many online videos, but when they talk about it, it's like when you're inside of here, you tune yourself to the hologram of like planets and all this other shit. Because with scientists, right, although scientists lie a lot, they have done certain things based upon their laws. Like they have discovered new planets based upon just the laws of gravity, and they could notice gravitational pull somewhere. But it's like the way gravity works outside here isn't even the same as how scientists say it. It's not the same. So it's like while you're inside here, your brain will attune to a holographic projection. I think about it like this: when you see like an actual hologram, right? It's actually a flat piece of paper. When you shine light through it, it appears as a physical object. So it's like when our sun projects reality, because the sun also comes from light from the other side that falls into a sun. From what I've seen, when this sun projects reality, you see it as this physical holographic image that has planets and the stars and stuff like that. But at the true root of it, it's not how it actually is. Because with all the ancient civilizations who've been outside the construct, even they will map it as a flat plane. In fact, when I first went to Egypt like years ago, I did see I saw a flat Earth diagram, but I thought it was like, I didn't know. I just ignored it.
You didn't know. You didn't know. Yeah.
So I saw you and Darius. So I'm like, hold up, was that shit actually real? So now I'm like, I got to go back and see it for myself. And I learned like, oh, it makes sense. This is a plane, and outside of here, things are flat with a firmament. But it's like inside of here, you perceive it as it actually being this three-dimensional physical universe.
So I got a presentation coming up where I explain the mechanics of this realm and like what it actually looks like and like how gravity works and how everything is connected. I gotta get you in there, man. I'll get you access to the site and you gotta come and check it out for sure. I think it will add a lot of clarity to things for sure for a lot of people. Yeah, because I mean, you know, one of my biggest things was, okay, so we're making all of these claims, right? You know, I'm out here telling everybody the earth is flat. I quit my aerospace engineering job, you know, because it was fake and all that. We're not getting to space physically and all that. So, but it's like, okay, so how do we explain it then? How does it work? You know, what's gravity then? You know what I mean? Well, what gives us the seasons? What makes the sun go around? What makes the moon go around? And I have been trying to figure this out for like a year, 2 years, leaving my body, trying to figure it out. But you know, when you see beings, they don't explain these things in the math and science that humans use. You know what I mean? Because it's like so advanced and it's not really like that. But I figured it out. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Perfect, bro. I have a quick question. How would you describe gravity, if you can, unless you want to say that for your
density and electromagnetism?
That's exactly what I learned too, bro. Okay, best. So we're on the same track here. That's exactly what I learned.
Yeah. And now, so I knew that, but I'm like, okay, but what causes the magnetism and things like that? So that's what I'm getting into. But yeah, it's definitely density and magnetism.
Did the black sun get involved with gravity for you, or not?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, okay, perfect. I think we learned the same exact thing.
Yep. That's it. Yeah, I'll get you in there, man, and you'll see it for sure.
Perfect.
I'll get you in there. Yeah. All right. True. Can you hypothetically get rich targeting potential future events and gamble on, for example, sports?
From my perspective, maybe, but I've learned that it's not. I don't know, because I've heard other people mention that they saw the lottery happen in a different timeline. They tried it here and it didn't work. You know, I never actually tried that, so I can't say for sure. But from what I've heard other people say, it's not the most plausible way to try to get rich.
It's not. All right. So yeah. So from my perspective, one, this is morally wrong, and you don't do this because this will limit yourself when you're out of your body, right? If you try to leave your body to do something for personal gain, it's going to limit you because that's a low frequency. That means that you're already tied to earth and you already have that mindset of, oh, I'm on earth, I'm a human, right? So the whole purpose of this is to free your mind and free yourself from your human body, your human vessel, right? And when you leave your body and you're seeking things like that, that's going to limit you. You're not even going to be able to access the things that me and Jeannie are talking about. Like you're not going to go, you're just not going to go. But and another reason why practically, like if you wanted to, if you just want to stay around round one and, you know, fly around here, sure, you can theoretically. However, the one thing that I would like to say is when you're accessing a time event, specifically a future time event, that future is always subject to change because that future time event is based off of many, many variables all lining up at the same time. And when you're viewing a future time event, what you're viewing is one specific potential time event. Now, and it's based off of, and when you're seeing it, what it's based off of is the certain frequency and tendencies of every variable within it at that moment. And an example of this is if me and Jeannie, if we're talking like, oh, you know, tomorrow, let's go outside. And then you access in a potential time event for tomorrow of me and Jeannie outside, you will see us outside. However, if Jeannie woke up in the morning and was like, I don't want to go outside today, you're not, that time event won't happen. You know what I mean? That's just one example.
That was a perfect answer.
Yeah. All right. So thank you. So Gabriel asks, we need to organize 3-Eye Atlas. Any thoughts on this? I have nothing. I personally don't have anything on it. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I have. It's crazy. I was just watching a video today, right, about 3-Eye Atlas, and I'm just like, because I'm like, why people care about it so much? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is, and honestly, I don't really care to find out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same way, man. Like I don't feed into anything that's really going on here. I'm just trying to do my own thing, man. Trying to piece
Yeah,
this, trying
like
to trying to figure out what this reality is and how can I explain it. You know, that's
yeah,
it.
like if it pops up out of body, then it pops up. But like I don't really see the hype because even with the video I was watching, it was boring me, and I'm like, I'm just gonna stop watching this shit because I don't get the hype.
Yeah, let me go find out about dragons or some shit. You know.
Yeah, you know, I love me some dragons.
Yeah. But I will say this though, just based off my downloads and general feeling, I do feel like as if it is something good. I was just this girl interviewed me at last week or something like that, and she asked me about it, and I said, I don't know. However, what I would like to see it is, if it was some form of disclosure for us stepping more towards the great work, like if they publicly said, okay, this is it, these are actual beings or something like that. That
Mhm.
is something that I would like to see it for, because that would help flip us into that trajectory a little bit more. But I don't know. All
I
right.
think whatever it is, it's either really good or it's a psyop. You know what I'm saying? That's what I see. But I think it's leaning more towards that it's actually a good thing, whatever it is.
Yeah. What? I'm trying to, guys. Can we keep the chat to questions only? As it helps me as I'm reading these. So, just another avatar asks, for someone struggling to bring their vibration back up, I cannot access the OBE state. How can I begin healing my body in the physical besides the abstinence of food and drink?
All right. With raising your frequencies, something I actually did recently is that I recognize that when I try to access certain places, sometimes I couldn't do it. And I noticed because my vibration wasn't matching it. So then I asked the astral to show me what parts me to let go of. So it's not just about the physical vessel, but what's going on inside of your mind, right? What emotions do you still hold on to?
Mhm.
What traumas do you still have that you need to clear out? That's why dreaming is so amazing because when you dream and get to the depths of your mind, you see what's actually really there. And this is where you might start having dreams about maybe certain arguments with certain people because you still hold that energy inside of yourself, or you have dreams just about whatever it is. It's just going to be dense things, right? Usually, if you can't raise your vibration by physical means, it's because it's not just physical, it's also energetic, it's mental. What's going on with inside of those spaces, you know?
Yeah, I love that, bro. And as I was leaving my body more and more, and I realized it really is a state of being, a state of consciousness, right? Yes, is there things to do in your physical body to raise your vibration? However, one of, and I get into this too in the presentation too, is like how to do this. And I will say it's everything in here is frequency, energy, and vibration. Okay. Now, what does that mean? And how do you raise your vibration as a human? If I'm like, yo, Genie, raise your vibration or raise your frequency, it's chances are you're going to have a positive emotion or change your
Literally.
feelings,
Mhm.
change your inner world. That's how the soul raises its vibration, is through feelings, right? So when you do that, it's all through the heart space, man. And a way to do this is to get out of your logical mind, right? If you can free your mind and say, and try to free your mind as much as possible and not think about the little things. Don't think about going to work. Don't think about an argument with your wife. Don't think about, anything like that. If you can just free your mind as much as possible, you'll free your soul. Um, but but he says, how can he begin healing his body in the physical? So one, you can do that by changing your mind, right? And focusing your mind. Your mind has, your soul has, nothing's more powerful than the will of your soul. So if you believe something enough to be true, you will literally will that into creation. This also ties into like manifestation and things like that. So that's one that you can do. If you just totally believe it, you can create that. Now, another way is, meditation, grounding yourself, soaking up energy from the sun. All of those things are true. Everything is connected. This is a whole circuit, right? And, doing things that conduce electricity in your body for sure.
Yeah, I'll also mention working with the etheric body, like the chakras, the meridians, and stuff like that. Qigong, Tai Chi, things like that could really help you as well. Your For those of you guys who don't know, your etheric body is literally what they call the energy body. That's where your chakras mainly are. That's where the meridians are. And when you feel energy, when you actually feel that type of stuff, it's coming from the etheric part of your body. You're literally feeling that because that's the part of your body that deals with sensory input. Yes, you have the physical body and the senses, but the physical body just takes information and then it communicates that to the etheric body. Then you actually get a certain sensation. So if you work on clearing your meridians, clearing your chakras and stuff like that, these different energy centers and everything like that, which by the way, chakras are way more expansive than just like seeing them as red, orange, yellow. You can literally bring different colors to different chakras and get different results. I actually brought like a diamond color to my heart space to completely change the frequency of it and stuff like that. So learning how the energy system actually works is a very big way to actually begin to change your frequency, because that body literally holds what they call energy for the most part.
Well said. All right, so my guy King Above All, what's up, my man? He says, have me or Genie ever united with another essence of our souls and came back as one before? For example, he's done so and he's merged with his feminine aspect.
Yes. Okay. So I actually made a video about soul fragments recently. I talk about that concept. But one thing that happened, this was like probably a month ago at this point. I left my body and I was projecting my own dimensional. I was projecting my own dimensional spaces outside of myself, right? And at first, I was trying to get away from it. Like it was my, because I rap. If y'all don't know, I actually make rap songs, right? I have a certain producer. It was me, my producer, and like some other random person. When I snapped my fingers, I could get the other person out of there, but my producer, I couldn't. I'm like, I'm trying to snap, and he wouldn't go away. And I'm like, what the heck? So at that point, I'm like, there must be something important here. Now, when I look back even more, I saw a version of myself talking to my producer. And I'm just like, wait, I'm seeing myself right now? What the heck? Why am I making that thought for him? But then I got the idea. I'm like, yo, if I hug that part of myself, I'm going to download the part of myself that raps. So I just hugged that part of myself and we merged. And then from there, I had a new experience. Like I came back to my body, then popped out again. But long story short, after everything was said and done, right, that same day, I made a super fire song called A Koozie Flow. Then I made like 2 songs after that. And rapping has become very easy for me because a part of me likes to rap. I saw that part of myself. I merged with it. Now I can rap even better than I ever did before. So that's one aspect of that in like a lower sense. There's higher senses of that too, where like you can see like different parallel lives of yourselves and maybe join with that. But I haven't had the most in-depth experience with that. The most I've had was that like I just feel that essence around me, and then I feel it coming in through me, and then I'm channeling that part of myself.
Yeah. So yeah, I haven't necessarily experienced, merging with, like a feminine aspect of myself at all or anything like that. But for what I call this is more so stepping back into your soul's memory, right? So I don't see it as separate. I see it as me just retaining more of my soul's memory. So like I have came back and, say I experienced a lifetime of mine. I have came back, and with that memory, I have been able to make better decisions, move forward, and things like that. And when your soul's memory comes back, it's just a beautiful thing, But that's what I would call that is your soul's memory return.
Yeah, I think stuff like that would happen if you begin to fragment yourself. Like sometimes people will go through like trauma and then shut a certain part of themselves away. That's where the whole concept of soul retrieval comes from. So I think that only happens when you're not fully embodying all that you already are. Like with me and the rapper self, although I already liked to rap, I noticed the importance of it after I hugged that part of myself and became one with it. But if I never fragmented myself, that would have never happened in the first place. So,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. All right. Yeah, I see. It's so hard to answer these questions because there's so many levels to it.
Yeah.
There's so many levels of consciousness and ways to take it. But that's a good one.
Yeah, like if you merged with your feminine self, you probably just ignored your feminine self to begin with. But if you already were in tune with it, like your feminine energy, why would you have to merge with it?
Yeah. Perfect. Loretta asks, she says, I was in a lucid dream and I went back to my body and got out, but when I looked back, my body wasn't there, so I was still dreaming, right? So with this is, so when you say you got out of your body and your body wasn't there, this has happened to me quite a bunch of times. This could be a number of things. Either you can be in a dimensional space where you're just viewing your room and it's just a projected thought form of your room, and that's where you are. You could be accessing time potentially, where you're there and your body's just not physically there, but you could potentially walk down in the living room and see your body doing something. I've done that, and it's very trippy too. It's very trippy. When you leave your body and you turn around, you expect to see your physical body on the bed. This is how I found this out, because I was leaving and I'm like, why? Wait, I'm not there. Like, am I out? Like, this was like in the beginning stages. I'm like, wait, am I out or am I real, or like, what's going on? And then I literally walked downstairs and I seen myself doing something and I got shook and I was instantly back in my body. And I was like, damn, I was out. So you can definitely be out of your body and not see your physical body, and chances are it could be a projection of your thought form, you projecting your room there and your body's just not there. Or you could be out of their frequency. There's a couple different things.
Yeah, I was thinking first definitely dimensional space, and then also what I've learned also is that when you leave your body and then see yourself on the bed, that's because you left your body and you're still inside the physical plane. But a lot of people, when they leave their body, they go to the astral plane, which is still technically a part of this construct. Like inside this diagram, this lower 1, 2, 3 level and stuff like that. This is like kind of like what the construct. This is how the construct. This is what the construct is inside of. Like this, all this is inside the construct. The astral, etheric, and physical. It's inside the construct. So it's like you might leave and go to the astral plane, but you're not in the physical plane anymore and stuff like that. But because you're in the astral plane, you don't see your physical body, because your physical body is inside the physical plane, but you're inside the astral plane. So yeah, you're inside the plane that deals with pure imagery, and there's no not physical matter. Although it will feel physical, there's not actually physical matter there. So your physical body's not inside that plane because there's no matter there.
Yeah, that's very well said. Very well said. Father of life, space. The only space that exists is, get the fuck out of here. Like, niggas is stupid. Like, I am Supreme Commander. Where and what is Nibiru Planet X? I haven't seen anything about that.
Yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. That whole when it comes to all this Nibiru, y'all gotta get that stuff out your head, bro. As a person that's actually read some of these different tablets, bro, Nibiru wasn't even the name of a planet. It was a title that was given to a certain god that meant the Caesar of the Mist. If you actually read, I think it's the Enuma Elish, if you actually read that shit, Nibiru is not a planet. You just have people, right? You have humans that never left their body, and they may be accessing certain downloads, but they're distorted to get through what they read about. So some person one day probably said that, oh, there's a planet called Nibiru because they read a book and they saw Nibiru inside. They're like, oh, that's the planet we're talking about. But Nibiru, that word wasn't even for a planet when it was originally used. Now, maybe there is a planet called Nibiru, but from what I've learned, bro, that Nibiru stuff, it's not fully accurate.
Yeah, that's more so like through the conspiracy theories, and that ties into the whole thing that like space is real type of thing, and it's not. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and say no as well. Camille, like your spirit guides could be present when it rings. I don't know if that's a question. Let me see here. Cool Daman certified as pro asks, keep trying to leave my body, but get too excited and stop the process. Any tips?
Yeah, just calm down. I mean, that's easier said than done, right? But like, this is why meditation is really good. What's this? There's a concept that I teach in my course called energetic equilibrium, right? It's building a certain stability to your energy, right? So if you get excited, okay, why is that? Probably because this is the first time you're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? It feels very hype. But if you treat it as a normal experience, you kind of lose the excitement. Then plus, if you realize that, well, me getting excited kind of ruins it. It kind of makes you less excited anyway. So just find ways to calm your mind. Meditate before. Use especially if, use delta frequencies for this case. Use a delta frequency because it makes your mind really it drops you down really low. You can't get excited as much inside that kind of a state. And yeah, just think about all the reasons why excitement is one doesn't make any sense, and then two is going to ruin it. And I say it doesn't make sense because if this becomes normal to you, why are you excited? It doesn't make any sense anymore. So one way is to think about why this make you shouldn't be even though it seems exciting, it becomes normal. You just make it a normal thing. And then number two, if you see that excitement is going to ruin your chances, it's like, well, now I'm not really that excited anyway because I don't want to mess myself up. Easier said than done, but that's like a quick answer.
Yeah, that's true. And there's also different types of excitement when trying to leave your body. So when it's about to happen and you feel the sensations in your body, like when sleep paralysis is about to kick in, or like you feel you get in a vibrational stage, or like you feel like you're about to leave, naturally your body will get excited because that's just your natural response. So but in time you just learn to control it. You acknowledge, okay, this feeling is coming, but you let it pass, right? And then you focus on calming yourself back down. That's what I do. So it just took time and practice really for me, where I would get excited. Like I'd hit sleep paralysis. I'd be waiting in bed for 2-3 hours. I finally hit sleep paralysis. I'd be so excited. And then I fucking be like, oh shit. And then I lose it and I ruin it and I blow it. And I'd be like, oh damn. So you'll learn very quick how to control it, because you don't want to mess it up. But at first, for sure, when that feeling comes, it does feel excited. And I say it's just like a natural body response almost in a way, but you kind of have to control your thing. So like when Jeannie said meditate and things like that, yeah, control your emotions, learn to control yourself. Yeah, for sure.
And that right there too, because I didn't even think about that, how you have like the excitement that naturally comes, which is like that's mainly just like energy, I would say, because I'm thinking about like emotional excitement, like I'm about to do this, yay. But like
Yeah.
in that sense, it's like your body kind of does excite itself. Because think about it like this: when you leave your body, it takes energy. So it's like you're gonna build that energy. So if you have that form of excitement, you just like you said, you don't let it scatter you. You kind of just like harness it and focus it and use it to leave your body rather than throwing you out the experience.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Booba Boy 34 says, I've been trying to leave, but it seems like I can only go as far as the dream realm, and I can't seem to get to the OBE state without falling into a deep sleep. What advice could you give?
Okay. One thing I would say, use gamma frequencies within inside of your daily life. And I say that because when looking at the OBE state from a brainwave point of view, it happens mainly during delta states, but also REM sleep. And inside of REM, it's like delta's the shutdown, then the REM sleep's the actual experience. Inside REM, you spike between delta, thetas, gammas, and alphas, So I would experiment with gamma frequencies, and I would also start lucid dreaming. If you dream a lot, use that as your gateway, because you can lucid dream and just leave your body from there. So if you fall into like that kind of a dream state, that could be your gateway.
Yeah, for sure. That's another good advice for sure. It certainly can. Let's see. Andre, if I figured out what creates the rain and thunderstorms and etc. No, but for that, I'm gonna go ahead and say like whatever science does. Like I think that's where the conspiracy theories stop.
Yeah, right. Yeah, certain things are true.
Yeah, but I mean that's a fair question for sure. But I also haven't looked into that, in all respect.
I have one cool answer for that actually. There was one time I left my body when it was raining, and I seen a giant dragon that was causing the rain. But even that dragon was just manipulating the natural elements, helping clouds to form and making it rain. But a dragon did do that. And in fact, literally about 4 days ago, it was raining, right? Now, for my job, we have to go outside and dismiss the kids. Now, since it was raining, I'm like, yo, I don't got no umbrella. I'm not trying to have it be raining. So I literally used the dragon aspect of myself to make it stop raining, and it became sunny as shit. And the weather app still said it was raining when it wasn't raining. So certain beings can help to manipulate the weather, but it's still, clouds and rain falling out of clouds. It's just
Yeah.
that certain beings can manipulate that.
What forms it? Yeah, and I'll give you an example of this. So me and my partner, we were trying to test our abilities, right? And it was raining outside, completely covered sky. We had a photographer coming in because she was selling her house. We needed to get pictures. And I'm like, all right, let's just sit here, and take 10, 15 minutes and focus our attention on spreading the clouds. So we did that shit together. And literally in 10, 15 minutes, all the clouds separated and it was sunny out. Now, a random person might say that's a coincidence, but I know we did that shit.
Yeah. Even people
You
want to
know,
say, even people want to say coincidence. Okay, I made the coincidence. Now what? It's synchronicity. You do
mhm.
certain things, then things happen, bro. So you can make a coincidence. You could make a
Yeah,
synchronicity. He did that shit. he
yeah,
spread the clouds, bro.
yeah. So you can do that for sure. But what actually makes the rain? I'm gonna go ahead and say like exactly what science says, but for sure we can manipulate it. Um, the Alchemist 369. Which of your aspects am I most attuned to with lately? Um, damn, that's a good question. I don't know. I've been isolated by myself for the last 2 weeks for sure. Just by myself in a foreign country. So I've been really tapped in. Just meditating to myself. But which aspect? I don't see it as that. I see me just gaining more. I call it like God mode, like me just obtaining more of my soul's memory, more of my soul's frequency. I have a mission here, and that mission is to embody my soul's frequency while here in the physical. So now, what does that entail? That means walking in complete remembrance at all times, becoming a living embodiment of what I preach and what I tell you guys. Basically stepping back into my divinity. Now, the most close thing to that I remember and I have a recollection of is what I was when I was in realm 3. So like that, I would say that's probably the most that I'm most in tune with right now.
I want to say something about that. Are there any specific past lives which you're accessing right now, and that you're mainly aligned with right now, or not?
Yeah. So with that, there's two things right here. One, me and my partner, we're trying to access our soul records, and that led us to Neo Soul and Beyond the Ice Wall, a bunch of times. So I was trying to focus on that, just because I know that was the life that I was most recently at before I was here was in Neo Soul, and I spent a lot of lifetimes there. Like I've witnessed like 4 or 5 of them now. So that's I'm just trying to learn that to figure out like exactly what was I going through before I was here, and it helps me decide. Okay, that's why I was acting this way. That's why I had this issue in my life, and that's and it helps me clear these things up as I live my life, for sure. Because then anything other than that, once you start getting farther and farther back, it's kind of like okay, it's kind of like useless information at that point because it's so far back. So I was just trying to figure out, about myself most recently in Neo Soul for sure.
Yeah, that's probably what they meant. Like, what I guess that's what they mean by like a certain aspect. I guess would be like your neo soul aspect. Then that'd be what they meant.
Yeah, yeah. You can say that. But what I'm trying to do is become my,
Yeah,
like my round 3 aspect. But
I feel
I'm
you on that.
very far away from that, bro. Very far away.
Yeah, I definitely feel
Very
you on
far
that.
away. Yeah, yeah. All right. We'll get a couple more questions and we got to get out of here. My BM was calling me. So, all right. Can't access and so Camilla Zay says, "Yep, can't access angelic realm if you only astral project to hook up and party. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
This shit should be taken serious, guys.
yeah.
That's low vibrational stuff. All right, all right. Let's find another good question. Um, Let's see.
I got a question for you. Someone on my channel asked, they said, have you ever experienced any other planets or different galaxies? That was for you specifically.
For me specifically, so planets or other galaxies? No, because when I got into this, I already had a solid understanding of the construct and how it worked, right? So when I was out traveling, I never specifically seen planets because I knew what they were. So that projection was never there for me. But I have experienced other realms for sure. You know, the galactic realm, realm 3, you know, I've been taken to the the seraphim realm, realm 8. You know, the seraphim came and I finally, mustered up the courage to go with them. That was a battle. That was hard as hell, bro. That was probably one of the hardest things I did. And once I did that, that was like when my fear was all the way gone.
Mm.
Once I did that. But yeah, I've been outside of this construct. I've been out walking around, looking into other constructs and stuff like that. But as far as planets go, I'm almost in tune to say that all the planets and stuff that they say is like here. Like when
Yeah.
they're talking about like they want to go to Mars and stuff, like they're talking about beyond the ice wall, guys. Like beyond the ice wall is huge. So you have to get out of your head the idea of planets and stuff like that, because a lot of these guys they're trying to crack the firmament. Like that's what these spaceships are doing. They're trying to crack the firmament. Like go look it up. Go look up Flat Earth Dave. He'll explain all that shit to you. So what they're referring to is beyond the ice wall, like Neo Sol. That would be considered a planet, is if that's what you guys are talking about. That would be considered like a planet. And there's other beings there too beyond the ice wall. Now, Neo Sol is just one location there, and that's a location where there's humans, and the humans did originate from here. But there's other land masses there, other civilizations, other species. There's a lot there. So a lot of what they call space and planets, that's where they're coming from. They're coming from beyond the ice wall. Now, then there's a step further from that, and that's even the galactic realm, and that's a whole nother thing in its own. But yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say this too. When you think about planets and galaxies inside of this sense, right? If you go to a different planet and experience aliens, right? It's not how you think about like you just flew to space, landed on this planet, and then you got there. Think about it like this: inside of the galactic realm, right? Like with the Altorian kingdom, the Altorians have different sections of their kingdom where they do different things. You might see that as a planet, but it's not literally a planet. There's different spaces within inside of these different realms which you can experience. Like there's been times where I want to go to a planet, and then I never actually I couldn't fly to space to get there. I'd have to open a portal, but now I'm somewhere else. And it's like, let's say I want to go to a planet in the Pleiades, right? I would never fly up and then see a planet. I would just open a portal where I would just appear there, and I'm in a certain space where Palladians do things and teach certain things, but it's not the same as like you're on like a physical planet that's in space and stuff like that. Just seems like a different dimensional space that's inside of a different realm. That's how I would view it.
Okay.
For
Yeah,
the
that's a
person
good way.
asking that, for the person asking that question, that's how I would view that. Because if I say I went to a different planet, it's probably not how you're thinking about, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not like that. So this is a good part. So Lovan says, and this is I know her. So she says she met a being in the OB state. Said it was her, and she asked if it was from another life, and she said no, it was from a fragment of her personality or her soul. And when she told me that, like I didn't even understand that. I'm like, huh. So do you have any insight on that? Because I was like, so she was out of her body. She met another version of herself, and she was like, oh, are you me from a past life? And she goes, no, I'm a fragment of her personality.
Yeah, so
Have
that's what I
you
would call.
experienced that?
Yeah, that's like the same thing with the whole hugging my rapper self. Pretty much inside yourself, right? You could be many different people. When you're not fully integrated, you have different fragments of yourself. I said this earlier
Mm,
inside the interview. You
mm,
could be this person. Like with my mom, I'm her son. I act like her son. With my friends, I may act like my name's John, so I act like John. On YouTube, I act like GenieDot. You see what I'm saying? So really, it's all one being, but you can see it as different fragments, especially when you're not fully integrated with yourself.
Oh, okay, I see. So she was probably witnessing a part of herself that she was not fully integrated with. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I couldn't figure it out because I never experienced that. All right, guys, we'll get one more question and then we'll get out of here. Oh, Gabriel asked, where can they hear your songs? They want to hear your music.
I haven't posted it yet, only because the reason I make music is because I like music, but I don't like the shit rappers say. The shit sounds lit as fuck. Rappers are so lit, but they saying bullshit. So my mind is full of bullshit. When I make my own songs and listen to myself, I fill my mind with what I actually want inside of my mind. Now, at some point, I will release it, but since I record on my computer, the quality is not the best. You know, if you guys want to hear my snippets of music, go to my Instagram at GenieDot with a dot and underscore. And I have a certain highlight that's called raps, where I share snippets of my songs, but I haven't actually dropped anything officially yet because when I do drop it, the quality is going to be fire for a fact. And right now it's not.
All right, let's see if we can get one more. Are the zodiac entities the 13 creators of this construct? No, not exactly, but that's a good subject. I don't have exact clarity on that right now.
Something I've learned recently. I don't know fully how it works, but even because it might be linked to the realms of the physical plane, but I know that there is a link with the higher 12 planes and 13 being source. Every single zodiac constellation is like a doorway to a certain plane of existence, which I was just going to talk about that on my Patreon. So shameless plug here. If you want that video, go to the Patreon because they never explained it. I'm going to make that really simple. I had beings explaining that, like with Aries, right? That's like a doorway of the physical realm in the sense of one aspect of Aries is instinct, and people in the physical plane act heavily off of instinct. And that's like one basic example. Now with Taurus, that's like the second plane. Second place, the etheric plane, deals with sensory input and stuff like that. One symbol of Taurus is pleasure and sensory value. So you see how Taurus could be linked to the etheric plane that deals with the senses and energy and stuff like that. So that's one thing I've learned about the constellations in regards to how it relates to the structure of the omniverse. But aside from that, I don't know. They've never been taught to me as certain beings at all.
Oh, D Fields, I want to thank you for the contribution. It's greatly appreciated. As you know, I do this full time now, so thank you for that. I appreciate that, and great conversation. I just want to acknowledge that as right before we get off here. So Genie, man, I very much want to thank you for your time, and we'll definitely do this again if you're available next Saturday, same time. My brother Corey will be here, and I think that will be a great conversation because he knows a lot more about the history here on Earth and like the connections between here and the other side a little bit better than I do. So that will be a great conversation. I'm sure you guys will have some great insights and conversations for sure.
Perfect, bro. Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me here. I'll definitely be there next Saturday for sure. Yeah, this was a great conversation, man. Talks like this are so important because we all have our own experiences, and there's also certain things that we just don't fully know, but it's like we all have pieces to a puzzle.
To it, yeah, and let's put it together. Yeah.
Because this conversation is open. I'm like, okay, boom, now I understand that part more, because there's certain shit like people be like, yo, you know everything. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm far from I'm far from knowing everything, especially when it comes to like the actual realms within inside the physical plane itself. Even that's still confusing because when I leave my body, I go outside the construct a lot. Like I'll even like, especially nowadays, I've been visiting my own spirit realm with like my own, like it's like my
your own creations, your own construct,
literally.
So that could be, this could be two things. You could either be outside of this construct experiencing your own creation, or what I have experienced is we have our own stations in like realm 5, where it's like all of your pleasures, and like that's where you go and often
Yeah, it's
return
like
to
your
it. It's
heaven,
like your
right? It's like
own
your heaven.
dimensional space. Yeah, it's like your heaven. Yeah.
Yeah, I've experienced that for sure. And then this one is like when you get to playing 7 through 5, which it makes sense because the way that realm 5 has all your pleasures there for you specifically, or it can. When you go to plane 5 inside the omniverse, that's where certain space-time constructs can actually exist at. And that's also where like these different heavenly, like there's these different heavenly like spaces there that exist there also. And it's like you can have a heaven for each of your different past lives, or a different dimensional space for all your past lives that are a part of your greater souls or of your greater spirits realm. So like for example, you if you have
That
like
makes sense. That makes sense.
if you have like a Lyran, like I have actually I do the dragon stuff. There's like, imagine that my own realm's a galaxy, right? There's several dragon cells that exist inside their own star that are part of a grand constellation. And like inside the ice dragon space, it's all icy there and stuff like that. Inside the fireplace, it's all fiery and stuff like that. But it's all part of the realm of my spirit and everything like that. So I've been going to those places a lot, mainly because when you go to the different dimensional spaces of your different soul aspects of like your different past and parallel lives, you get more past life history. So I've been doing that a lot recently.
Good, man. Yeah. That's dope. That's dope, man. But yeah, man, I appreciate you, bro. And for sure, we'll do this again, guys. And all the viewers watching this, thank you guys for watching and tuning in. You know, it would be a boring conversation if it was just me and Genie. So, well, probably not boring, but it's definitely more fun with you guys here, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah. So, thank you guys. And Genie, you have any last words before we end it?
Yeah. This is kind of corny, but bro, be yourself, bro. You know, don't. You could definitely be inspired by other people, but don't think that you have to do the same exact thing as other people. What is your soul and your spirit calling you to do? Right? You should always follow that, because at certain periods of your life, you might resonate with one thing and resonate with something else. My point is, I'm saying be yourself, because people will sometimes hear talks like this and try to become exactly like the person that they're watching, you know? And it's like, when you do this for yourself, you might have your own set of experiences that go way beyond what the freak we're talking about, you know? So be yourself and focus on what your soul is currently calling you to do right now. That's my main message all the time, to be honest.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. That's beautifully said. That's beautifully said, for sure. For sure. That was a good one. That was a good one. I like that. I like that. Well, all right, guys. All right. So, as always, stay grounded, stay curious, and always remember, you are not just in the game, you're the one controlling it. I'm the Alchemist. I'll see you on the other side.
Peace out, y'all.